Hey everyone, welcome to another Saturday. Hopefully you are all doing well. Just double checking to see if I was actually not muted then. Pro tip. Anyway, so 217 shows ago we started this thing called live streaming, Ranzee's live stream. It's now called Synth Geekery. It has been called that probably for about 100 and something shows. So if you're new here, big welcome and a hello to you. Please stick around. We've got a massive show today. We've got a lot of stuff going on. All of our regular segments, we do news, we do funny side, which is about memes for synth-specific music stuff maybe. We've got some price watch galore, and we've got some eurorack this week. So all of those people who are into synthesizers, bye. No, just kidding. Stay around because you'll actually enjoy it. There's some really, really cool stuff happening in development. And, you know, like this development that happens in modular tends to go across to hardware synthesizers. So it is definitely something I've noticed. So, you know, keep a sort of, if you're not into eurorack or modular, keep a left eye just on it. You know, just kind of be partially interested in it. Just pretend you like it, maybe. See how you go with that anyway. Right, we've got some lovely people here, and we probably should head on over to there before I talk myself to death. We've got Big Darren. Big hello to Darren. We'll go to him first. How are you, Darren? How's your week been?
Good day. Damn warm, basically. Damn warm. That's all I can really say. Just... yeah, I don't like it for when I'm on anything in here.
It's better than freezing your nuts off, mate. Isn't it? Eh?
No, I'd rather be freezing it. At least it's warm in here and I can concentrate on things.
Fair enough.
Just can't concentrate on anything. It's just too warm.
Can't be pleased, can you?
For me, anyway.
You just can't be pleased.
You can't please it. No, that's all I can say.
All right. So has it just been too hot for you to do anything? I can see you got the fan in the corner there.
Oh yeah, I can just see it. Yeah, it's just blowing warm air out, so I don't know why I'm even got it on. I've been doing lots of things, but like I say, I just can't concentrate on stuff. By the time you get home from work, out the heat, spending the day in the heat, and then getting in here, and it's just cooking away. It's just there. Doesn't give me inspiration. Let's put it that way. So
nice.
Yeah. Just 1 week. I think it's supposed to cool down after today anyway. I think Sunday we might get a bit of thunder and then cool down a bit, so that'll be good.
Darren's our resident meteorologist, so thanks for the weather update. Thanks, Darren. That's awesome.
That's not a problem. That's a problem. Blue skies.
All right, we'll head on over to the next person. Lovely to have you anyway, Darren. And that's Mr. Andy. How are you, buddy?
Hey. Hey, all right, how's it going? We have the opposite problem here. It's supposed to be summertime here, and we have cold weather. I was doing an astronomy show the other night, and I actually had to put some layers on. I'm like, this is supposed to be summer, or at least the end of summer.
Well, technically autumn now, right?
I mean, we often have an Indian summer here, right? For since I was a kid, basically.
Yeah, so a little bit
this
longer.
time of year. But now it goes into December.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But then it's cold now, which is the opposite. It's just so weird. It's just, what can you do?
Yeah. What can you do? Anything synth related, guys? I mean, we're talking weather a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I got some new gadgets. I was showing this earlier. You guys ever seen the Behringer Shark thingy, which is a weird little multi-DSP thing. Guy gave this to me for $10.
So how old is that thing? Is that like a 90s thing, is that?
It's classic Behringer, so it's old. This is way pre-Midas, you know.
Yeah.
But I have to look it up. Actually need a power supply for it. I got one of these too. I always wanted to try one of these Pogs.
Oh yeah.
So
I always wanted to try one too. So
yeah, put a theremin through this or something, it'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, so you put a mono synth through it, right? That would actually be cool.
Mono synth, anything mono.
Yeah.
Fatten it up. Yep.
Yeah, let us know how that goes, man. I've always actually wanted to know. Yeah, because it's like a pitch shifter basically, right?
Yeah, it's an intelligent layering thing. It actually has multiple layers. It's 1, 2, 3, 3 octaves down, 2 octaves up.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's pretty fat.
Pretty fat. We like fat. I mean, just look at me. Right, we should move on. Ian, how are you, bud?
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night. Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Busy week, up and down the country again, looking at houses, think we might have found a house, but
Ooh,
don't
exciting.
quote me yet. We've still got. Actually, what's interesting is that one of the houses we put an offer in last week, 2 weeks ago, they've now come back and said that they might be willing to accept our offer, although they've rejected it once. So we're waiting to sort of hear about that. But yeah, no, up and down the country in one day. So we did 10 hours driving on Wednesday, I think it was, which was a bit of a gruel. But synth-wise, I've been trying to get my head around the microcosm. That's interesting. That's fun.
Yeah.
And the Poly-N tracker turned up.
Yay.
So I've installed the latest firmware version. Interestingly, they must have had it in stock a while because it was version 1.3 was the firmware that was on it. So that's
an old one.
That's 2 years. That's 2 years old, isn't it? You know.
That might even be before they put the game stuff on there. There's like a game.
No, actually,
update.
I found the games fairly early before I did the update. So
okay.
the games were there.
The games were on there. Okay.
Games are fun actually.
Yeah.
Just getting it. Just starting to mess around with it a little bit, really. You know, but it's. I'm going to have fun with it. I think. You know, it'll be. So yeah, but apart from that, that's everything. I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, just remember this tracker stuff is not. Just put yourself out of DAW mode and just think, I'm not going to be trying to do a DAW, arrangement or clip thing here. This is kind of a different world. But
it looked like it. Yeah.
I was talking to Chris about this actually during the week. Like, if you think about the old days when you had really, really small samples, right? You would try and make music with really small samples, and then because the SID chip or the Amiga, whatever it was, the computer that you had of the day, they just didn't have the power to generate sort of big long sounds. So the tracker was this sort of way of making music where you could just quickly scroll through a whole bunch of different sounds, and you didn't have to assign one track per sound. You could sort of each step of the track could be a different sound, and that was the trick to it. And people got really, really clever with that. And in fact, that's kind of how you get some really cool sort of retro computer sort of style music, by using a tracker. It's probably one of the only ways to do it. So yeah, I reckon if you embrace that, you'll have fun with it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I wish it was properly sort of portable in the sense it had an internal battery, but I can get a power brick.
It does power off a reasonable power brick. So you don't. It's nothing massively beefy, I found. No. So yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, yeah,
great,
good stuff.
All right, on to the next. We have Brooksy, I think, is the next button. Yeah, there he is. How are you, mate? Muted. Take a drink. It's primed. It's primed.
It's not beer, it's juice. Seems everybody's been spending money.
Shame.
I bought Ableton this week.
Oh, you're a good boy. You're a good boy.
Yeah, I took, after taking lots of advice from lots of different people, ultimately, and some very kind offers from people like Ian, I just thought, well, actually, no, make your decision. So on balance with it all, rather than going for the full suite, I went for Ableton Standard, which I have now downloaded and done a bit of playing around with, and I've downloaded the packs and things. So just sort of got, started with sort of the setup procedure. But like Darren said, I know it sounds like excuses, but the heat in here, in this little room at the minute, it's just unbearable. It's so bad. And of course, I've been back at work, which means I've been back at work and then getting home going, oh.
You do realise there's
so I'm quite excited about that.
There's millions of you lot that have emigrated to this country for the exact reason that you're whinging about.
I'm not whinging. No, I'm like Darren. I'd rather be cold than
we haven't emigrated.
Too cold, too hot.
I
know.
You're probably smart.
Yeah. Well, it's so hot and sticky and horrible. Anyway, it is lovely. We shouldn't be grumbling. I'm not grumbling about the heat. It just is an issue.
You just got to get outside,
we
mate.
We don't mind the heat. It's just that we have nowhere to get out of the heat. That's the problem.
Well, that's what we do. We go to the beach.
Yeah, but go and stand in the freezer aisle at the supermarket.
A lot of Aussies go to the cinema because the cinema is air conditioned. So, there's the theatre.
Let's face it, we Brits love to moan about the weather, no matter what the weather is.
Yeah.
I actually think
Can't you
it's
just
really
buy a small
nice.
space cooler, like a 5,000
The morning that
BTU
it's
cooler?
bouncing down.
Yeah, I think
Why
the
don't we-
weather's fine. If you ask me.
Why don't we head on over to? Well, it's good that you got Ableton, because you've got a lot of people
Yeah,
here that
really
can help
not.
you. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Congrats, mate. Congrats. Let's head over to this button, which should be
And I'm not sad
StreamYard.
about it, David.
Now, I think Henrik was actually first in StreamYard, so put him first. And you can unmute yourself, buddy. How are you, mate? You good?
I'm fine. It's been a good week. I would have wanted to buy the tracker, but I spent money a week before on this one, a Raspberry Pi, and
Yes.
lots of memory cards and cables,
lovely.
and also some HDMI stuff. So it wasn't time for the tracker this time. But
Well, you've missed the boat
this
on it
thing-
anyway.
yeah, this thing, it's really great.
You're actually lucky
I
you
love
got
it.
one, because there's really short stock of these in the world at the moment.
They're still on storage in the Danish store I got them from.
Right.
So
So buy them from
you
Denmark.
yeah, from a homepage, and I got it the day after I ordered it. So
Sorry, Henrik,
that was
what is
pretty
it?
fast.
It's a computer.
It's a Raspberry Pi, but it's built into a keyboard. So you can do all. It's
Ready
So it's
to go.
open-ended. I'm with
you can
yeah.
you can use it for controlling stuff or with sensors, and you can do a lot of electronics via this port. And you can program it yourself. That's the funny part of it. You make your own programs, but it also runs Linux, all kind of versions of Linux, and it's quite fun to mess with. I like that.
Yeah, the default operating system that comes with it's called Raspbian, which is based on Debian, and it's a
Yeah.
Linux operating system. So
Yeah.
it's awesome.
I love it. I love it. It's fun. It's like the old Amiga days where you got where you had some friends, where you got some copies of something, and this is new. It's a new world. There's so much to discover. It's not a fast world. Not on this machine. But I've installed Linux on the PC too, so I can run it as another boot.
Yep.
And it's fast there.
Which Pi is it? Is it Pi 4?
On the computer, on the PC, I've installed Linux Mint.
No, the chip.
and,
Which Pi chip is it?
Yeah,
Raz-
it's Pi 4 with
Pi
4
4.
gigabyte.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. And it's overclocked, so I think it's 1.8 instead of 1.6, which is standard. So, if you look inside, I haven't had it open, but I saw a lot of videos about it. All this part is a cooling plate for the CPU in the middle.
So it's passive.
So
Yeah.
it's but it never gets hot. It's perfect. It's not good at running YouTube videos. You can download them and play them with VLC, and that's good. But on a homepage, no, it can't play videos fine there. I've tried a lot to make it better, but
Interesting.
no success. Another thing, I had the release party Saturday, and I will have to thank everybody who was there, Andy and all the chatters, and of course David too. It was overwhelming. I've never expected what happened. It was so nice to see you all there. It was so nice to hear all your kind words. It was fantastic, and we will do it again with other artists, but we have to be careful about copyrights and such. So it must be. We have to think it through before we start that, but we are considering to do it. So
yeah, I kind of worked out that if we release our music on Bandcamp first, we're safe, and then if we do release parties and share the videos and sounds and that while it's on Bandcamp and it hasn't been released through a distro, then you're safe, and then once that's all done, then you can send it out to all the streaming platforms afterwards. That seems to be the way of doing it.
Yeah, that's
but if it's sent to a distributor later, then you will get a strike on the old one. Yeah.
So you'll have to pull the video after, though. That's the only thing. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you allow it to be played on YouTube, you can do that.
You can do
via
that as well.
Your distributor.
Yeah. You certainly can.
But I can't find where I switched it on the ORCARD where I upload music. I think it's a thing you do one time and then it's just on.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. All right, and we need to move on because we've got Chris here as well, and I'm just going to put him into the hot seat and press this button. Hey, Chris. How are you, buddy?
Hello. I'm good, thank you, mate. I'm Chris, and I'm also a synthaholic, and it's been 4 days since my last synth purchase. Because, I also
Chris.
got a polyand tracker.
Sucker.
I couldn't
I was supposed to say that
resist
when you
it
do
Good
either.
man. Good man.
Yeah. So, I like it so far. It's really nice build quality. So yeah, got one of those. So it's been a busy week for me, but it's also been a really special week for me because last of my 3 beta test modules went to their respective beta testers this week, and the last one was picked up by our illustrious host here. Yes, Rant and I finally had our first face-to-face meetup.
Poor thing. Feel sorry for you, mate.
So I think we chewed the fat for the best part of an hour or two, didn't we, Rance?
Yeah, it was good.
Anyway.
We could have talked for hours longer. Absolutely.
Yeah, we could. I really enjoyed it. So thank you very much, and we will definitely be doing it again. I hope I didn't make you too late for your school pickup.
No, I was only about a couple of
me.
minutes late, so that was fine. Yeah, a couple of minutes.
Cool.
Yeah, she didn't even really notice.
No worries.
Daughter was fine with it. Yeah. Well,
Cool.
we'll give him a sneak peek while you're talking about it. There it is there, people. There it is there. This is the GP82 module that Chris has
You still
made.
got me on screen.
No, I don't.
I think you still got me on screen. Oh, there you go. Sorry.
There you
No,
go.
Chris.
No,
No,
yeah, I just need to do that.
Sorry.
Sorry. There you go.
Sorry.
Can you
Yeah.
can you jump to me, Ranz, a second? Sorry, I'm being very selfish. Can I just say, Chris, there you go. This landed this morning. There you go. Thank you very
Awesome.
much. And I have
You're
and I
welcome.
finally actually sent you the money via PayPal, so it would have landed hopefully.
But
so I forgot
think
I
about
forgot
this.
to do it. So there you
Yes,
go. Got
thank
it.
you.
Brooksy, think about this. Look at this. It also landed here. Hold it up.
Woo!
Not me.
You
I
got
don't
yours,
have it
didn't
yet.
you? Oh, you don't have it yet. Oh.
Nope, it's in the mail.
Oh,
Sorry.
Oh,
complete
Not a
fail.
trifecta.
Complete fail. Well, it's awesome that you guys, there's absolutely no requirement for you guys to buy anything that we talk about, especially polyand trackers. If you are thinking about getting one on that special deal, unfortunately, I think they've ended that now. So there may be some straggling retailers out there that haven't caught on to it yet, but I wish you good luck if you are. Anyway, all of you who've got one, including those in the chat, please let us know how you get along with it, because it's a different beast, and I want you to think of it that way. I don't want you to expect it to do what a normal sampler / sequencer would do. If you take that attitude, you should find, open mind, open ears, open eyes. You should find it good fun. While we're talking about chatties, let's say good day to them. Hey, look at them all. Who gets the yellow jacket today? I don't know. I didn't actually look.
Heinrich, wasn't
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah. Tour de France for you, Mr. Heinrich. But we had Andy Synchrotron there. Hello to all of you. Failed Muso, Azio Head, Wagoo, Future World Machines, Brett Lemmings, Homegrown, Kev Human. Hello to all of you. Big hello to Steve Elbows and Grace, of course. Massive hello to Grace. And we've also got Matt Brown. And I'm scrolling, and I bet you it scrolls off the screen as I do this, as it does every week. Lady Aptitude there, big hello to you. Geez, everyone's talking lots, and I've got to scroll through while you're talking. Max there, big hello to Mr. Mac, or Macro Dozed, as he calls himself now. Awesome to have you. He sent me a nice little message during the week. We're gonna talk about what he sent me. So it's a bit cryptic now, but you will understand later. Big hello to David. And also to mention too that some of the people I've said hello to who've got that nice little star next to their name, you can see David has got that awesome star. He is a channel member. That's what that means. So he's actually supporting my channel, and those people, not that they're any better than you if you're not one of those people, but those people truly are warm my heart. Thank you very much for those people that support my channel as channel members. So yeah. And Chris Head's there, Pat Brady, big hello to you guys. Who have I forgotten? Probably it scrolled off the screen anyway. Everyone jumps in right at the last minute. I think Dan is there, big hello to Dan. Kissing the Machine was there somewhere. I'm pretty sure. Doing these shows week in, week out, sometimes I might read out someone's name who's not actually in the chat. Mark M, big hello to Mark. I've probably repeated someone. Merbit, big hello to Merbit. Who else have I missed? Mez303. Good stuff. How are you, buddy? You good? Let us know in chat. If you are lurking, I think we're just going to have to finish now. But if you are lurking, please jump into chat. Say hello. Tell us where you're from. Because, hey, you know, why not? What's stopping you? Just, you know, if you're on the freeway in the car, just pull over into the emergency lane. Make sure you do that first. And, you know, jump on the phone and say hi, and then pull back out again and keep going. Whatever. I literally have people tell me that they watch my show while they're driving to work on some freeway. And I'm like, okay, cool. Awesome. Don't know how you're going to watch it, but they're probably just listening. Hopefully, sensibly, they're just listening. Sensibly.
Stay safe, people.
Right. Now, I did mention to everyone that there is going to be a pretty big show today, and the reason for it is if you haven't paid any attention and didn't look at thumbnails and things like that, well, you probably should, because you probably would have noticed a few seconds ago that I even showed it. We're going to be checking the Sealegs out by Intellijel, and if you haven't watched that video yet from Alex or Mylar Melodies, then you probably should have. Mine is not going to be anything like as good as his, because I never could. I am not worthy. So we'll check that out. But also, if we'll get a little chance to have a little play with Chris's PG82 module as well. So little chance. Just bear in mind, I've only had this thing for a couple of days. Sealeg only for a couple of days, really, too. So no promises that it's going to knock your socks off or anything. If you want that sort of stuff, head on over to Mylar Melodies channel, and we'll see you later. But without further ado, we probably should say a couple of things like, how do you get onto StreamYard? Look, there is the link there for StreamYard. Or even still, if I close that and go like that one, sorry. There it is there. So bit.ly/Ranzee StreamYard. Pretty easy. It's going to be the same link every week. And let us know in chat if you're waiting in what do you call it, in the lobby, and I'll press a button and bring you in and things like that. Don't get angry if I haven't noticed.
In purgatory.
I am doing kind of a million things here. And during the week, if you just want to keep chatting about synthy stuff, there's Discord. Ranzee Discord is the bit.ly link that'll take you straight to our Discord server, and it's going gangbusters. Let me tell you, if you haven't played with Discord before, it's great. It's ad-free social media. That's what I call it. But anyway, some people don't like it. That's their problem. Let's do this segment. Oh, and we're going to have some random memes. By the way, just noticed one of the guys in chat said he's from New South Wales. Big hello to you. Okay, look, we're sorry if if we had known that you were going to be a writer, we'd have been better parents. Now, I saw this and I thought I might go into Photoshop and change it from books to music CDs or something. I thought, give it a crack, sort of make it a bit more of a music sort of edge to it. But I thought, it's good enough. We can draw a long bow and sort of relate. We can relate. But yeah, these are good. Some of these cartoon ones that are popping around. And there's the noise cancelling toilet. Thanks, Bose. Very good at filtering out the brown notes, I've heard.
One of the new Japanese ones.
I have seen.
Japanese,
I've seen the Roland one. I think we showed it on the show. The Japanese Roland toilet. It was amazing. It makes me very jealous to not live in Japan at times. When you get your last minute gig, and that requires you to learn 30 songs and pay you only $100, winning. Winning. You can see my dog wagging her tail in the background there. Next, there. We finally organised my desktop, ignoring the rest of the room. That's got to be true to some people, surely. That has to be true. Good computer, bad room. Bad computer, good room. Yes. And then this. So you're billing me twice because I'm bipolar? No, it's because you're rechargeable. Boom, boom. What else we got? Robbie sent this one in. When your dinosaur park fails, but you still have bills to pay. Now, if anyone doesn't get it, I'll just say Jurassic Park.
Good.
Jurassic Park. All right.
It's a doppelganger for sure.
Doppelganger for sure. That is it, people. We had a lot of memes this week, didn't we? All right. In the chat and on video call, what is your favourite meme this week? That was a lot.
The batteries.
I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with the writer because I think that probably happens more than you think.
Mm-hmm. The writer struck a chord or struck a line.
I quite like toilet humour.
Toilet humour, yeah. Yeah.
I need new cushions for my headphones, so I went for the headphones.
You probably don't want them second hand.
I want the toilet that has auto-tune built into it. So.
Aren't these supposed to be
no,
black?
Thank you.
Chats are saying dinosaur, writer. Yeah. I think it's kind of a three-way tie between the dinosaur, park, the rider, and the toilet. I'm kind of thinking.
I like the batteries.
Yeah, I don't think the battery's got
a powerful one.
Yeah, I know. It really charged you, didn't it, mate? It really gave you a good charge.
Currently.
Yeah. You're a bit of a bright spark, actually. I've noticed that about you.
I don't know. I found it a little bit flat.
Yeah. Well, I actually think that it's pretty hard to recycle jokes like that.
Puns, folks.
The battery, Wagoo says the battery one was ruined because it wasn't accurate battery drawings. Do better, cartoonist. Do better, says Wagoo. All right, let's hit this button. Pew. Some interesting news this week, peeps. Yes, Era Instruments have been busy. I've got 3 things to show you from them. He says with, like, delay. Is this a Radio Workshop? Yeah, this is the Radio Workshop. Okay. Let's do the Radio Workshop one first. Here we go. Now, have I got... please tell me I've got this working. I do. Now, last week, we had some trouble. I think it might even been the week before. And if Dr. Synth is there, big apologies to him because I think we did name that Synth episode and the video was kind of choppy. So let us know if it's choppy again, yeah? Because there may be a problem with a plugin that I'm using to render this Mac screen. You can see here, this is a Mac screen, and it's kind of doing this over the network. So let's check out the video anyway. This is the Error Instruments Radio Workshop module.
Okay, hello, this is Baltas, Error Instruments, and this is something new, a radiophonic workshop that we know from the BBC, and a lot of artists are playing around there with synthesizers, sound installations, generators, everything from the early days. Check documentaries and check this, it's really cool. Things are created that we know now from the Doctor Who soundtrack to a lot more. This kind of development was also in the Netherlands, but then not for television programs, but more for Philips. It was in a nut lab in the Netherlands, and there are more places like this where this atmosphere was. This kind of thing is designed with this old Fumator that you can see move, and you can use this device.
You just get there eventually.
For space and laboratory
he likes to
music.
talk.
That's the idea of it.
Yeah.
Let's listen a little bit.
Here we go.
Dubba-da-bum, dubba-da-bum, dubba-da-bum.
Ding 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 ding.
Oh no, we're caught in a Doctor Who time loop.
Yes,
It has,
Dr.
Oh no,
Smith.
we're caught
you
in
can
a...
play with lights, and that's
Yeah.
Oh, it's bigger inside.
There's a lot in the knobs. There
Before
are
that,
two
it was Forbidden
options.
Planet.
One is called
Yeah.
drones, and one is
very.
glitch, and that's more.
I loved
how we
Forbidden
feel with
Planet.
the sound, and you can use the.
Terminate.
It's got that little sort of contact sensor on there, which is pretty cool.
I'm gonna add some control voltage.
Let's do glitch.
That's over here. It's really glitchy.
Probably why it's called glitch. Funny about that. Anyway, enough of that. You guys get the idea. So,
I have a question. Can you guys not? Can you modular guys not already get those sort of sounds without that module? Because
Yeah.
you see, it sounds
There's
good.
ways.
Yes.
There's ways.
It sounds like a lot
Yeah,
of ring
I'm
modulation
sure.
going on.
Yeah,
ring
but-
modulation, cross
Yeah.
modulation.
Some people like purpose-based stuff. You just turn it on and go. So, you know.
It's like asking, why do you need to look at other cars? Can't you drive 60 with this one?
Whoa. Now we're getting into a massive argument, aren't we?
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's like my wife saying to me, "Don't you have enough pianos in your studio?"
Or guitars or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so what can we tell you about this? It's 199 euros if you want that. There's two more Error Instrument things that I want to show you too. Because look, hey, these guys have been releasing stuff, and it like the guys have said in, you're probably thinking the same thing. When you build a module, it's not necessarily that you're building it because it doesn't exist and it has a function that's new to the world. You're building it probably to save some what do you call it? 1U space or whatever you call it. You know, rack space, right?
HP.
It might HP. That's the word I'm trying to find. Thanks, Brian. So it might take 5 modules to do that, and now you've got it in one. Does that make sense? So there's kind of reasons why people do this stuff. Plus, it looks cool, and plus because we can. And if you didn't like any of those excuses, then bad luck. Right, next is this one, Brinter. This one is Brinter. Brinter is a grain circle granular type sample manipulator, I guess you'd call it, from Error Instruments. There's another video we're going to check out. I'll tell you the price of this first. It is 305 euros because there's probably a bit more brains in it as such. But let's check out. This is probably a long intro. I'll try and skip through as much as I can. Here we go.
Okay, hello, this is Baltas, Error Instruments.
Let's just go to
content. So the blue bits are high noise.
and of course with the sounds of it.
Where did he show
Of course,
up? Where
we know
did he show up?
Akbar from.
Here we go.
It's quite a way in, Rand.
Here we go. I don't know what's going on with the color on that video.
No, he's put a
It's like
filter on it.
orange, isn't it?
Yeah,
It
it's not the.
It's a filter.
It's definitely the video that's doing it.
Yeah, look at his hand, yeah.
Darren would like this because it's very pretty with the lights.
A bit.
Got the cute little ballerina there too.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's also made of 24 karat gold.
That big knob in the middle, Darren, because you like big knobs, is basically a what do you call it? Like a seeker
It's a golden.
knob thing that you can seek around that
Seeker knob
granular.
thing.
Yeah, you sort of. It's like a playback head, and you sort of move around the granular sample with it. And those other things are like
Continuous.
CV controls. So I
You're
kind
selecting
of
grains,
I
basically.
kind of thought this was interesting. I think this is kind of a different play on granular synthesis. You've got your sample in there. You can move your playhead around with that knob. You've got CV controls over different elements of it. And then once you've got CV controls over the elements, you can automate that with LFOs and envelope generators and sequencers. So this is where this becomes interesting. Now, there's probably other modules that have got some similarities to this out there, but this, with all of its goldy goodness, it might, nice big knob and lights and everything, it might just be what you're after. Right, let's do one more, and then we'll get a sort of an opinion about all three, okay? Because I kind of feel like this is the best way to do it. The last one out of these guys is Bubbles. Sounds
Yay.
like sounds
Gotta
like
have bubbles.
a chick I met once. Anyway,
Not the
so Bubbles is a experimental filter module, and yeah, I don't really know how to describe this. It's basically, there's a few filter modes, right, that you can probably just see with the graphic. Let's check the video out anyway. You can have a look. I think it's interesting anyway. Here we go.
Okay, hello, it's Baltas, Aero Instruments, and I'm here in the laboratory with Stijn from This Is No Rocket Science. Hello, welcome. Welcome, Stijn.
Hello.
And we're gonna talk about bubbles. Yes, not about champagne or cava or anything like this. We're gonna talk
Bubbles.
about this model, bubbles, and bubbles are interesting. Why? Because we never made a filter before, and filters are crazy, but so many people make filters. And of course, we like filters. They're necessary and they're needed.
I'm getting
and
dizzy
they sound cool.
watching
but
that thing
sometimes
going
we're
around.
missing some things in filters. So we created a kind of multi-filter with all the experimental stuff in there that I like. Why I like
Just
filters.
wait, after an hour it begins to turn the other way.
3 sessions. So
What's with the ballerina?
Go in the middle. You see the smile.
She's cute.
face.
She's cute.
That's yes. That's because of the acid, and that means it's a little bit
Okay.
inspired on the
It's a
303.
303,
So there's
yeah.
a lot of distortion feedback and on the filter, and then also the knobs. So the under knob over here changed into a kind of distortion knob, and you go down to go more extreme. If it listen,
Can we hear it? There we go. You're wobbly, that knob.
Very wobbly knob.
It is.
I was
Wobbly
thinking,
knob.
Yeah.
Really
That's not going to
interesting.
survive, is it?
It's the idea also.
Yes.
There we go. Farts. What everyone buys
Hey.
Eurorack for.
That's right.
I did something like that in the loo a bit earlier.
Too much
Yeah, that
information.
noise cancelling toilet.
Oh! That is, without a doubt, a doctor's visit if you sound like that in the loo.
You need a new muffler if you got that sound coming out.
You need to see a proctologist, more like it.
There's a
Okay,
cheaper way
so
to get the sound. Yeah.
let's get through these 3 error instrument modules. We had the radiophonic workshop with the VU meter first. which is kind of like the Doctor Who-y, Lost in Space type sound effect thing. We had the Brinter, which was that granular animation type, playing through CV controls of granular sort of sample. And then we had Bubbles, which, as recommended by your local proctologist. Right, so what would you like to say that you're interested in? By the way, there's no price on the Bubbles yet. I don't know why. It's weird. They gave price on the other two.
I think the Radiophonic Workshop
shitty.
Price was shitty. All right, Brooksy, what was that? Say that again.
I think the Radiophonic Workshop thing looks like a lot of fun. I think for that sort of thing, like you were saying, just to reduce the amount of modules that you'd have to take up to create those sort of sounds, I think that's really quite reasonable. If you need that sort of wigged out kind of, 60s sci-fi film BBC Radiophonic Workshop sound, it's perfect, isn't it? Thought the filter sounded really interesting. The Brinter, I was just thinking, well, there's a load of other things that do similar things, aren't there? There's the Morphogene and obviously Brains, not Brains, what's it called? Braids is what? Is it Braids? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yep.
The clouds kind of things. So there's lots of these sorts of granular capturing, mangling-y sort of things.
Clouds definitely does it. Yep.
So perhaps, although it does have that lovely circular dial that will keep Darren happy for ages. So
indeed.
Yeah. So it was the.
Yeah, but I hope that knob's not as wobbly.
Look at that noise in the background.
Actually, if the thing isn't out yet and there's no price available, I think we'll get comments about that because a knob that's so obviously loose like that is a concern. Really, I'd want it to be a little bit. Yeah, I like my knobs to be firmer.
They shouldn't be showing it, should they? They shouldn't be showing. Unless they specifically say, "Hey guys, this is a prototype. We whacked it together for today. Yes, the knob is wobbly, but the one we sell you won't be." I don't know, but he didn't even say anything about it. He was just like, "Look at me wobble this thing like it's about to fall off."
To be fair, the first time I touched the Buchla 200E at NAMM, it was very wobbly shafts. They had flexible shafts. So some synths are just that way.
Why? Why would they choose that sort of componentry?
Why would you spend $20,000 on something that has wobbly shafts?
Exactly. Well, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
I would have wanted all three of them 2 years ago, but I'm there where my rack is full and I have to replace something to if I want to get more. So today I would not buy it, but 2 years ago they would have been very interesting to me.
Okay. Right. Okay, where are we? This button here. All right. Chatties, have they said anything? They've probably said a lot. Everyone's saying clouds. Yeah. So, look, I think we have to keep a bit of a, I know what you did there, sort of eye on people with a lot of this DSP stuff going around, because don't forget, Mutable Instruments open sourced pretty much all their code. And a lot of that sort of stuff is pretty much just easily manipulated and downloaded and squeezed into another bit of code, and away you go. You've got a module that does granular stuff.
Should credit it, though.
Yeah.
If they have.
And there's synth manufacturers that have done it and haven't credited them. So, yeah. Keep a sort of a lazy eye on it.
Also, microgranny is a good cheap alternative for granular if you want to play with that stuff.
Well, I mean, that pedal that Ian's just got, is like, it's not cheap, but that's like the epitome of mucking around with granular. So
yeah, not half.
And tons of iOS apps if you like that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let's get back to the news. So we've got a couple more things to show. So bye-bye Bubbles with your wobbliness. Next is this Adva. Plum Audio they're really great, Plum Audio. Two reasons. Number one is they bring us modular fully built if you want, or they can bring it to us as a kit. And the kits that they bring to us are actually pretty cool. Like, I've made one of their kits, which was the oscilloscope kit. And I always rave about it because you basically you get this. We'll go back to this in a sec. You get this really cheap Chinese oscilloscope thing off of eBay or Amazon or whatever, and it's like $20, right? And then you pull this whole kit apart. Well, it comes apart anyway, but you pull it apart basically, and then you manipulate it into a eurorack module, which he gives you the bits and pieces for that side, and you put it all together and solder it, and you've now got a eurorack module oscilloscope, which is pretty cool. And it was really cheap. It was like $100 and something to make, you know. So Plum Audio do stuff like that, but they also do stuff like this, the Adva. Now the Adva is also, you'll notice this is a horizontal module. What's with that? Yes, it's a 1U module, but it's also a 3U module as well. This is $299, fully built, and it's a advanced filter, as you can see, if you haven't worked it out yet. Because what's LP? That's low pass. What's BP? That's band pass. Little lesson here from Ranz. If you haven't worked that shit out yet, you probably should go.
Okay, what's MCV?
Ooh, MCV. That's a really, really good question. What do you think it is?
No idea. Modulatable control voltage. No, well, it's who knows.
I actually don't know either. But it is also okay. So it's a filter that's got normal controls. You know, so you could control it with the envelope generator, an FM. LFO, but it also has FM, and it also has a 1 volt per. So it's like a keyboard input, and on top of that, it has drive or noise.
MCV stands for modular captive vessels. Apparently,
does it?
According to Wikipedia.
Okay, so the MCV in this is a modulate.
That never works.
Well, it was mysterious.
It is, guys. It is a mode on this filter where you can modulate the modes with a CV input, and you can see the mode input on the bottom, and then you use a CV input.
I was
to
nearly
change
right
modes.
then.
Yeah, you're
Mode
close.
Control.
Anyway, let's say it's got 7 filter modes. The ADVA provides things like low pass gates, multi-mode filters, a phase keeper, which ensures that the module never inverts the input phase in any of its filter modes. It has self-oscillation with the keyboard input. It also has volts per octave input, as I said before. Resonance is also with loudness compensation, so you don't lose the filter drop. It also has an internal analog white noise generator, and you can use it as an FM source and a whole bunch of other stuff. Right, so I think there's a video. So instead of me crapping on about it, why don't we look at it? Good idea, Ranz. Brilliant idea. Base station. Is it not just me? Everyone looking at the performer module down the bottom left as well, going, "Whoa, I like that module too." Yeah. So there you go. Adva. It's a pretty cool little filter module. And for those of you who like Chris, for example, he's got a 1U bit of 1U space in his gear. These things are pretty handy being 1U. So if you are building your own skiffs, build a little 1U, spot in. Don't just have it all 3U. And these are very handy little things. Who likes that?
I haven't got any 1U.
Oh, Brooksy. Oh, quick before it scrolls off the screen. Thank you very much, David, for the 5 smackaroonies, as we call it here in Australia.
Yeah.
Smack me in the gob. Who likes the Adva?
thought it sounded lovely.
Yeah.
It did sound very 303 like that, though, didn't it? I loved it when he pushed that knob and brought the distortion bits in. That was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
Who noticed that it had the pre and the post distortion circuits too?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I didn't actually notice that in the notes, so that's something that the video brought up. So if you're wondering what that is like, a Bass Station 2's got a pre and a post distortion circuit. And you can use the two to manipulate each other, and you get some really wacky sort of, audio rate stuff going on. Yeah. And the noise too was the other thing that was interesting, right? So he brought the noise into the filter. It's kind of like an additive noise, right? So you think additive synth, yeah, and so it grunged up some of that filter sound a bit.
The other thing that could help with is if you're trying to create noise-based percussion sounds. Like I know Henrik does quite a bit of cool stuff with noise, and resonant filters. I thought
and
he might
low-pass
be interested
gates.
in that. Yeah.
Yeah. What is that cursor?
So you don't even have to put a source in. You could turn up the noise and start pinging the enveloping it, and starting to produce percussion noises.
Whenever I buy a pie, I like to put sauce in though. Okay, so we sorry, I'm doing terrible jokes today. Who's going to rush out and buy one of these?
Tomato sauce.
You can buy this as a kit, by the way. I should mention to you guys. You can buy this as a kit. I can't remember what the kit is worth. I don't think he's got it yet on his website as a kit.
Didn't
maybe
see it,
no, I didn't see it either. Anyway, Plum Audio is the website to get it from if you want to check that out. All the links to all this stuff that you see on the show are going to be in the blog article, which gets posted on my website sometime in the next day or so. So, venture on back. And before this scrolls off the screen, we should probably say a big thank you to Mark for the 10-pounder. Wow, that was very nice of you, Mark.
Nice.
Good on you, mate. Fantastic. I like the animation. You can't see it on there, but it's like some dude with a hat on giving us a thumbs up. Good on you, mate.
Yeah.
I like that one.
Turning his hat backwards.
It's a hippo.
Like
It's
a
a
true
hippo.
hippo
Yeah.
boy.
That's cool. Good choice.
Sort of blue hippo.
Right. Now, the next one, I really, really wanted to show this video, but I haven't actually reached out to Starsky Carr and asked him, and I'm sure that he'd let me anyway. But because I haven't, I'll do him the justice of not playing it. But I can show you bits of the video without playing it. How's that? Like, why don't we go to this graphic first and say, welcome to the new Analog Solutions Ample. And Ample, by the way, has nothing to do with sample, if you're wondering. This is 100% completely an analog mono synth. And hasn't got some cool little things on it, like some goodies. Like, rub your hands together, people, because bottom left-hand corner, it's VCS3, like, synthy stuff, right? It's definitely a pin matrix. Your eyes are not deceiving you. And the cool thing about this pin matrix is there's actually 3 different voltage controlled. I'll show in the video
pins,
there.
yeah.
There's
There's
3
3
different
different
colored pins.
resistances.
Yeah, and they've got resistance in them. So that's pretty cool. You can see them on the bottom left-hand corner there. Plus, it's got this weird thing called the what is it called again? It's called the
Interval generator.
Wrong button.
Oops.
Interval generator. Literally, that's the button above where I was. The interval generator is kind of like a touchy thing that you can control things with control voltage in that pin matrix, and it sends it off to various places. So that's pretty cool. What else? It's got 3 oscillators. It's also got a sub oscillator on top of the 3 oscillators. It's got some really interesting types of sequencer. They call it the patinator. The sequencer is actually really cool. I would so love to play this video because it seriously is a cool video, right? But definitely go check it out on Starsky Carr's channel. It's not really a review. It's just like a quick run through. You can see on the right hand side there's some outputs. There's noise, and there's like this noise snare drum output that you can send out a noise snare drum from the sequencer, or the patinator, I should call it. On the left-hand side, it's got some inputs, and you can send all the oscillators out as well. So yeah, it's pretty featured. I would say. It's massive, though. It's a massive desktop synth. And it's, as you would imagine, it's made in the UK. It's handmade. So don't, like, shoot me because the price is really expensive. It's not really, when you think about someone's love, sweat and tears has gone into this. I think they're about £3,000.
It looks rack mountable, though. It's 19-inch rack mount, isn't it?
Yeah.
19-inch rack mounted, yeah. So this is something you would probably get. £2,000.
Starsky Car's video is absolutely brilliant. So you know, it is just an introduction, but I watched the whole thing. It was amazing,
love
wasn't
this. Beautiful sound.
I love this. I would look. I mean, and I thought I had no idea how much it was when I was looking at the video, and then went back and looked. And to be fair, I thought for $2,000, it's cheap for what you're getting. You know, yes, it's
you're getting a mini Colossus, aren't you?
It's a mini Colossus, absolutely, yeah.
It's really, really great. Yeah. You know,
me too. I was just sitting there thinking, why haven't I got £2,000 to spend right now?
I know.
Wouldn't you love to, though?
I would love it. Yeah, and it because it would integrate beautifully.
Well, and it's, you know, I'm looking at buying the Terra. So you know, the dilemma there is: do I buy this or do I buy the Terra?
Hi, Andy.
You know, so we'll wait and see. You know.
Yeah, but I mean, you could.
No, I
love
it. I think it's great.
Ian, you could jump in the Ferrari and drive on down to Anderton's and chuck one in the back seat any day you like. You know,
I could when I'm down south. Yeah, and once I've earned all the money from Andy and your album and everybody else's album.
Cha-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
Can we borrow it occasionally then, Ian?
Yeah.
Nope.
Can you do what Robin Vincent does and have a little synth library?
Exactly.
I hope so. That'd be great.
Borrow the car. Yeah. And the boat, because we talked about the boat, didn't we? In the Bahamas.
The boat, yeah.
Do you want a boat?
I wouldn't be borrowing.
It'll be a caravan in Cleethorpes.
I'd be borrowing his Ferrari. That's what I'd be borrowing. So a lot of people do look at this and think, wow. So yes, it's not all Eurorack on this show, people. I do show synthesizers, and especially something that I think is, I think it's really, really good. I really do. I think this is probably one of the best synthesizers I've seen come out for a while, because of what they've done. Is there's nothing really technology-wise on this that is kind of groundbreaking. Like, oh, they've invented this. What they've done, though, is they've arranged technology that's been around in some cases for 30, 40 years, right? Oh, God, and in some cases it's modern. But they've arranged it, the way they've arranged it in a way that is so musical and so, like, it's a real electronic musician dream, really, when you think about it. There's all these cool things that you can do with this, and patch and touch and sequence, and, you know, it's just, yeah. To me, it's worth every cent if I had it. Absolutely. Oh, there was another graphic, wasn't there? I think there was a photo. This is from their Facebook, by the way. Is there another photo? Yeah, there we go. No, I like this photo because it's because in the background. What do you see?
Because what's in the background?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or so what's on the right?
Yeah, what's on the right as well.
It's a emu
SP12.
Well, whilst we all salivate over
nice
this.
studio, yeah.
It's kind of like you combined a Kilpatrick Phenol with a VCS3 with a couple other things. It has that kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
So.
And in a way,
it's also
we kind of wanted to have a new VCS3, didn't we? We didn't want just someone to remake it. This could be that. Sorry, Chris, go for it.
No, I was just going to say it's analog. Analog Solutions have taken some of their best work and kind of cherry-picked it out and put it into a module. But they've also done what you said, which is obviously spent time working out what would work better as an instrument. But they have really cherry-picked some of the coolest stuff that they've done over the years that's been in their other instruments. Like that Patinator.
Jeez, I knew that it'd pick your ears up. Seriously, if you haven't seen that, Chris, if you haven't seen that video, go check it out, because I think that would be a massively cool Eurorack module just on its own. That sequencer, the modes that it's got, and just how brilliantly musical it was.
I was going, how is he doing?
Exactly the same thing.
Binary. The binary pattern. There's 4 of them. There was another. The original instrument that came off that was from Analog Solutions was It was one of the videos I saw on like
the
Superboost 4 years ago or something.
Fusey or something. Yeah.
And I was fascinated.
4 steps, but it sounds like many, many more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they
And
used the
it-
3/4.
Yeah.
They used the 3/4, didn't they? So if you use the analogy of everything has 4 steps, but if you do the 3/4 step thing, then in every 12 steps, you get caught back up to whatever the rhythm's doing. So that I think it was quite clever how they did that. So you've got triplets and quartets, right? That's how they did it.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing it and being interested in it, and that was 4 years ago. So
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So
So this seems to be even better than that one. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. I liked how on one side, let's go back to the picture because we're talking about something we could just show you. Go back one. So on the left-hand side, it does stuff, and on the right-hand side, it does stuff related to what's happening on the left. So it's kind of like you can either have 8 steps, or you can have 16 steps, or you can have 8 steps, and then those 8 steps do stuff. And those things that it does are those little knobs sort of underneath
ones,
to the
yeah.
left. Yeah. The 6 silver
D
knobs.
for-
Yep.
for kind
Your
of
modes.
partials of a pattern. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
And then
really,
the
really
step
clever.
knobs are it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but Chris, I reckon you could sit there watching that and studying that and go, "Ooh, I know how they can do that," because you've already
Probably could work it out.
You've literally just like picked your brain for the last 6 months anyway, doing stuff like this, right?
You could see. Can you see me now slowing down the video to whatever it is, 1/16 speed, going, writing out tables, working out what the buttons are doing. True reverse engineering. I didn't say that in public, did I?
You can do that. Everyone does it. Don't worry about it.
Nobody can prove anything.
There's a massive country with 1 billion people in it that do it for a living. Right. I think there was one more thing. Oh, there was. Robbie will love this. This was a massive announcement during the week, and we got teased with it. Not this. I'm about to go the slide. Don't worry. Hold on, people. It's not this. It's not what you're seeing. It's what's about to come onto your screen, okay? There was a massive announcement during the week. In fact, I might even be able to get the graphic of the massive announcement up, because I think that was kind of really lame, right? This kind of adds to the lameness of how stupid this whole thing is. All right, let's do the massive announcement graphic first. You guys know where I'm going to go with this. I've just about given it away. Here we go. Let's crash the show by dragging pictures in, people. Here's the massive announcement that we had during the week. Right? Everyone getting really excited. Oh, what's coming soon, Yamaha?
Oh, wow.
Is it going to be another HS8, this time painted yellow? No, people. It is... It is actually a new product. It's finger drummers. Robbie loved this. He was really into this. Yeah. So there's 2 of these little suckers. There's the big. This is the Big Bertha. It's about $599 in Australia if you want one, Chris. And there's a little baby one. It's about $369. So the baby one does pretty much what the Big Bertha one does. They're about the same size, by the way, pad-wise. Except the Big Bertha one has the screen and it has the beautiful coloured pads on it as well.
I don't think you can import your samples into the little one.
You can't import your samples because it doesn't have a USB port. And I think there's a whole bunch of other sample manipulation that's missing on it as well. Yeah. So you'd probably want to get the Big Bertha one, which is called the FGDP 50. And check this out. This doesn't make you want to buy one.
Rolls off the tongue.
Really quick on showing the back of that white one, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yamaha using Roland's drum sounds. Here we go. It's got a built-in speaker, everybody.
And it sounds just like that on the built-in speaker.
Andy, I was thinking about you when they showed this.
Yeah.
We all seen this video, right? Can I stop it, please? It's cheesy as hell. Right, I was going to go into my other room and drag out the HBD, whatever it is, 30, 40, 50, whatever it is, Roland
20.
hand sonic that I've got, right? And just go in your face, Yamaha, that thing's been out for years and it's probably better. But then I calmed down. I went, check it out properly, Ranz. Don't be such a little, prude about these things. I kind of thought to myself, hang on a minute, I've done things where I've just gone tappity tap 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 with the fingers, on the kitchen sink, or we've all done it on the side of the car when you're in traffic, get the little resonance sounding on the side of the paint in the car. We all do that, right? And then I thought to myself, hang on a minute, Yamaha, you've got these little pads in pretty decent spots. If I can get the tappity tap tap happening with the fingers, maybe if these pads are pretty light, like you don't want to be smacking your hands really hard, you'll get sore fingers, right? They have to be pretty light, wouldn't they, for it to be finger reactive, so that you can kind of, what I mean, like you're kind of doing this sort of stuff, right? Maybe it's a cool thing. It just depends, in my view, it depends on how much we can manipulate the sound engine on it, because to me it sounded very almost, let's say cliche, general MIDI-ish. To me, that's kind of how it sounded. Anyway, that's enough of me.
There is
It's
a
like
second
Zoom's
video.
version of a rhythm track. The rhythm track guys that came out years ago.
Yeah.
Little portable drum machines.
Yep.
This is like Yamaha's version on that. It's just a few more features, but has kind of a spread out layout kind of thing. Obviously, you can add your own samples on the big one, but it might be fun. I'd have to try it to really pass judgment on it, but it's nothing really that new.
It's not, is it?
It's new for Yamaha, I guess, because most of their stuff is groove boxes and stuff. But if it's a proper experience, then it could be pretty cool. But those little Zoom rhythm tracks, they had one from the Beat Kangs, the Street Box. They had the RT223. They had a sample one for a while, RT224. They had some really good stuff out there, and this is like late '90s or whatever. So
yeah, I remember them.
Yeah, they're cool, and they're battery operated, totally portable, velocity sensitive, all that good stuff. You couldn't the sample version could you load samples in, but they came with pretty good damn samples in them. So
yeah, well, the sample manipulation is kind of what makes the hand sonic stuff good, right? So now, Ian, you were going to say something, weren't you?
Yeah, it's just that I watched the first video and thought, like you, it's a bit cheesy. And I thought, the pad layout looks a bit weird. Then the second video, he goes into a lot more detail about where your hands should be. And the pad layout makes sense, really. Now, I'm no finger drummer, and I struggle to do that sort of stuff, really. But I did sort of warm to it. I mean, I think you'd waste your money if you bought the one where you couldn't put your own samples in it. And he did go into some of the manipulation of the samples and the sounds and that. And I mean, what is it? 300 quid? Was it 300 quid?
I thought it was
I don't know how
pricey.
much it was now.
For the top one, I thought it was pricey.
I'm just looking now.
I've got on mine. I've got
$299.
$299 US, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, US, right? So a bit cheaper here. I thought, to be fair, for that, I thought it wasn't too bad. I mean, I, like Andy says, I would want to play it. I would want to mess around with it. It is velocity sensitive, So no, I did. I started thinking this is a bit naff, but actually, I ended up quite liking it.
I think you do need to have those pads up the top as well, because I think the white one you'd miss having the pads at the top. It's kind of like a bit of a tease not having those. Yeah. I
mean, what they showed with playing along to a song was pretty naff. It sounded pretty poor, really.
Yeah.
Well, they should get David Fingers Haynes to demo it. He's the best player out there.
There's some good finger drummers out, but most of them would be MPC finger drummers, right?
He's the MPC guy.
Yeah, and they probably won't like that pattern layout on the pads. They would prefer it to
they'll
be
have muscle memory for.
Yep.
Yeah, they'll have muscle memory.
Yeah, they can adjust. Those good guys can adjust like that. So.
Yeah. I mean, I find with the hand sonic when I'm using that, because it's more palm and fingers, it's like you're sort of bang tap, and then some tappity tap with the little finger. So it's sort of like bang tap, tappity tap, It's more that. Whereas this thing is just kind of, it's just the tops of your fingers. Yeah. So it's a different thing. I don't know. I like the hand sonic because it's something that you sit around. You know, you've got a little drum stand on it. You sit around it. You've got a drum stool, and you play it like a proper music instrument. This thing I think is kind of more an arranging tool. I don't know. That's kind of where I'm feeling that it sits. It's more you would use it to sort of finger drum something into recording it or sampling it, or maybe even MIDI recording it. I don't know if it would be a performing thing. I don't know, maybe some people might think.
I can't see it as a performing tool, really.
It would be interesting to know how good
Go ahead.
it would be interesting to know, yes, how good it is for controlling other gear. There, it could be interesting. I don't think these sounds we heard were exceptional at all.
No.
But if it can control other gear, then it may be useful for some, not me.
Well, yeah, do an 8 CV output version of it or something. Yeah, that'd be cool. What were you going to say, Brooksy?
You do your thing on the park bench, and then you bring it home and use BFD. So.
Yeah.
Brooksy, you were going to say something?
I was just going to say I think it'll appear in Darren's live rig.
Ooh.
No. I'm not a finger drummer. Although pads will appear in it, yeah. Will be pads.
See, told you.
Yeah.
I'm more a thinker drummer.
Because the keyboards had to be done.
I'm more a shite drummer. All right, we're done with the news.
I think the pad control thing, the Korg I talked about before, the Korg pad control is a great value, because a lot of people are going to hook this to other gear anyway, or a DAW or some other kind of library. And the pad control is light and portable, has more features than this has, because it has XY pad and rolls and flams and stuff.
Yep.
So I would have more fun with that.
Exactly, Andy. And the Korg pad control, you bring it into Ableton and you put it into a drum rack, and you are cooking with gas, as they say in the proverbial.
Yep.
Literally, like Brooksy, you've now got Ableton drum racks. You plug your BeatStep Pro into that sucker and go your hardest, mate. It's such cool fun. And there's heaps of downloadable drum racks that you can get off the net. It's really, really cool. And your BeatStep Pro...
Or use your sample track as a controller
mode. Yeah. Yeah.
I have one more thing for the news. Waldorf has just released a firmware update for the Iridium and
Quantum.
And the other one, Quantum. Yes. And it's good.
It
doesn't change much, but it solves some bugs. I had some bugs on my Iridium keyboard where it stole
notes,
tones, voices. When I took just used 4 fingers for chords and bass, and it was a pain in the, So this update has solved that. As far as I know, I haven't heard it since I updated, so that's good.
Okay. Now, I'm just hearing messages that you're a little bit hot on your mic, so you can drop it down a dB or 2. That'd be good. Chris, you're fine on your side. It's just Henrik's is a little loud. All right. So, out of all of those products, we had the 3 from Era Instruments. We had the Adva Smart Multi-Mode Filter, we had the Analog Solutions Ample, and we had the Yamaha Finger Drummers. What was your favourite this week?
Ample, definitely.
Ample.
Yeah.
I think we all agree, right?
No, you can't.
Anyone disagree?
You can't go past it.
What are the chatties saying? What was your favourite? I think the chats are a little delayed today. I don't know why. A little delayed, so just give them a sec to catch up. Ample, here we go. Ample. What are we saying?
I think it's us who's ahead. We could slow down.
Yeah. we could slow down. Let's play with 80s Sam.
It actually looks normal on my screen when I do that. That's weird.
Oh, David is David's saying the Yamaha drum thingies.
Drum thingy.
Ooh, go David. You non-conformist, you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Love the individuality.
Try and respect his
Asterisk.
drummer. Extra master.
Okay, what we should do next is I reckon we should head on down here. I'm really trying hard for the mouse to get across to the right thing and go there. There we go. Oh, you followed my hand down. Well done, people. Let's look at the Intellijel Sealegs, right? So there's a couple of cool things that you can do with this thing. I'm not going to do 50 different camera angles. This will be all you'll get today.
See your legs. Synchrotron.
Yeah. Let's do the Sealegs. Sealegs, Maharities.
What does it mean? Is the opposite of a mermaid? Sealegs.
Well, they
No,
talk about this thing being like there's things like fog, right? This has kind of got a bit of a maritime feel to it. So yeah, that's why they've called it Sealegs, because you can kind of get these wobbly leg type delay sort of sounds, right? Out of this thing. Anyway, let's put now. While I've got this here, let's just say
You have to mix it with the Sea Devils filter. Is that what you're saying?
Chris's module is actually in action while we're doing this. So you can see Chris's module playing with the 182 sequencer, right? What have I got here, people? This is really basic patch. Okay, on the left-hand side, it is just a single 1110 System 100M clone from Behringer. That's a VCO, VCF, VCA in one module. So it really takes up hardly any Euro space. That's great. I've got the sequencer going through the 2HP tuner so that I can keep things in sort of relatively quantizedness generally. Nice little System 100M based envelope generator from Frequency Central. The reason why I like this is because it takes up hardly any space. And then obviously we're going to be looking at the Sealegs. We're not using the LFO over here, and we're not using the this module on the right, so don't worry about that. Let's hit play and see what we got. And it's out of sync. Why is that? Why is that not starting? What's going on, people? Okay, I am getting some errors here. Why am I getting errors? There we go.
Hey!
All right, let's play a little bit with this. Let's start from the left. Let's look at the sliders, okay? So the left to the right. So the sliders are, if you look at this in groups, you can see you've got these line down the middle here. So you've got the first bank of 3 sliders, then the next section is 2 sliders, and then the next section of 3 sliders, right? So this is kind of to do with your delay effect, right? So you've got your time, your width, and your feedback. Your time is your right. Your width is how much stereo width you get out of it. So it comes a bit more sort of into the middle, or right out wide.
Mine would always be wide.
Oh yeah, I love the wide. And then you've got feedback.
Gotta be.
Oh baby, let's drive that sucker. Alright, let's get some different sounds happening. Let's go to a bit of a speed thing here. So this is the long, medium and short switch. We're going short. This is your high pass filter. All of these are CV controllable, my friends. All of these. So that is your attenuverter control there for your high pass filter, right? So why don't we do that? I said I wasn't going to use the LFO. Bugger it, let's use the LFO. Do it. Shall we? Look, Mum, no hands. And if we don't like it so dramatic, we can back it off. Let's put another LFO into this. Now you're getting Sealegs, right? Alright. No effects. Right, now, let's have a look at a different beat.
You don't have to demo it, but how long is the longest delay time on it?
In the manual somewhere. If you can have a look at that, please.
RTFM.
It's in the manual, mate.
What an
Okay,
amateur.
but let's have a look at it. Instead of me actually telling you the answer, let's have a look at it. And what I might do is I'm going to slow down the clock on this sequencer, right?
We could divide it.
Yeah. So, divider, I can go... It's this one, isn't it? The bottom one.
Bottom one.
Let's keep it stabby so that we can hear the delay effect, right? Alright, so far I've stopped it. So this is how long it goes for, Henrik.
That's feedback.
Yeah, with feedback, yeah.
Yeah, with feedback. Let's turn the feedback off.
That's not bad.
That's
Cool.
long.
Don't forget, this is digital. This is 100% digital, this module, right? Now, that is on the BBD setting. You've also got the tape up the top, and you've also got the digital. Yeah, it does that. Sorry about that. Digital, yeah.
It remembers.
Here we go. Now, I'm doing this one on purpose because the digital one has some really cool mangling stuff that you can do with this depth and color. Hear that sort of crunchiness that's coming out now? I'll mute the drums actually.
How are you getting the portamento, Ranz?
That's just by playing around with the decay. So it's a technique with an envelope generator. You can get it to do it on a filter with the decay. It's a cool thing that you can do with Roland gear.
I was hearing it as pitch modulation,
Yeah.
really, rather than,
Yeah.
rather than just the decay on the filter.
It's one step spilling into the next.
Yeah. That sounds cool, doesn't it? All right, so then we can also play around with the bucket brigade delay. So let's just turn all this stuff down. All right, so one thing I like about this, right, is the high pass filter is almost kind of like a mixer in the sense that you're getting like a full sound delay. Like it's literally a copy of the input signal, right? See that? But as you put more high pass into it, it kind of gives it its own character. So you get, that's the dry signal, and that's your delay signal, right? So you get it gives it its own sort of character. And that's just playing around with a low and high pass filter. So the low pass filter, cool fun. So when I talk about this stuff, this module is kind of like if you wanted to have a delay module that you just want to control just about everything a delay module has under the hood. It just gives you, it opens all of that up to you and gives you CV control, it gives you slider control, and then on top of it, it's got a few other built-in tricks and whistles that I really, really like. I haven't even gone into the syncing and it's got its own clock generator and all sorts of stuff like that in there. We don't need to sort of talk about that because I think that's kind of more technical stuff. But some of the other things that you probably want to know about that is pretty cool. For a start, it's a stereo module, so you can actually feed it a stereo input as well. But I've been feeding it just a mono input, and it sounds pretty decently stereo on its own. Thank you very much. Makes any mono synth sound good. It's got a drive circuit, which I think I showed you right at the start. So you bring that. Now I'm going to bring this down a bit so you can hear it. I've stopped the sequence. This is just a delay now. I love the drive effect. That is so cool. Driving a delay, is so cool. It has a noise, and that's just literally permanently there. And you can filter it. Right, the noise is there. There's some functions you can do with noise as well, which I haven't got into yet.
The drive, is that on the input or on the feedback loop?
I think it's on the feedback loop. But there is an audio signal. It's a really massive big manual with a massive amount of audio signal path diagrams in the manual, and I think there are some options for you to flip things around. With these, you've got an Alt button, right? Which is the freeze button, but you hold it down, and then some of these knobs here give you different functions as well. So you can do some, fancy thing. The fog you probably would have been noticing is kind of like a reverb, a little bit like how Clouds has got the reverb in Clouds. Now, how do we get this back up and running? We need to put some
Turn up drive again?
Yep. Let's put some fog into this. Here we go. Yeah. Oh, I love delays. I can have a lot of fun with them. Okay. Questions, comments. This is not all it does. Obviously, there's much, much, much more it can do. Questions and comments. Anyone?
How would you like it compared to your Magneto?
Yes. Now, that is a very damn good question, Mr. Darren. I think the Magneto stays here. This doesn't replace the Magneto, because the Magneto does kind of probably the tape stuff better, and there's a lot of tape specific functions on the Magneto that this doesn't have. So this does have a tape circuit, and it's got a hell of a lot of cool things you can do with it, but the Magneto has a lot more depth when it comes to the tape stuff, and also the Magneto is probably more built to be like a playable, almost like a synth voice. If you actually use the Magneto to its real power, you can use it as a synth voice as opposed to it being a delay effects.
The choice, if you had to get rid of one of them, what would you do?
I think the Sealegs has probably got more features. Versatility. Yeah. One of the reasons why I bought it is because I have a problem with some of the eurorack modules that have delay features, and some of them are noisy. Some of them are noisy as hell, right? I would like to use a swear word there, but that's I'm chilling a bit. One of them that I've got that I think is noisy is the what do you call it? The Mimeophone by Make Noise. I really, really like their module, but I just think that they haven't quite engineered some of the DSP noise issues in it. I think that they've kind of cut some corners, personally. Like the color, there's a color knob on there, which is a beautiful thing if they got rid of the noise in it. Now, I've talked to some people about it, and some people are saying, what do you mean noise? I like the grittiness of it. I'm like, okay, fine. If you like noise in your music, that's cool. I mean, if it's controlled noise, I get it, like that you can turn on and off. I get it. But this is kind of like annoying noise. And you guys would have seen me with the Tasty Chips convolution reverbs thing that I had a while ago. I got rid of that because it was just noisy as hell. So there's a whole bunch of delay stuff that's out there, and I think some of the eurorack modules don't really handle the audio signal processing that well, because they've just gone, oh look, there's a really cool algorithm, I'll just chuck that on a chip and put a really, really basic DAC in there, and we'll get it audio in, we'll get audio out, and bang. And then they haven't realized that there's crosstalk across modular power trans and all sorts of other problems that they get inside their modules.
Skimp out with cheap op amps.
Yep.
Possibly.
So Intellijel have done a really, really good job of noise treatment. It's not perfect. You're introducing overdrive and noise, so you're going to find there's going to be weird things that will appear in that.
Because of gain structure.
Because it does. It just literally turns the module into something, a beast, right? But yeah, Darren, I'd probably say I would get the Sealegs over the magneto if I didn't have any. If I was there going, ooh, I can only afford one Sealegs, because it does more, right? You've got bucket brigade delay, you've got tape, and you've got digital delay. And the digital delay is cool fun because it's based on early digital delay circuits that we probably have grown up with, right? And some of the music that we've liked in the past, and it kind of mimics that stuff, and then it plays with you a bit with it too. The other thing I probably didn't mention too is there's control that you can do with things like freeze, so you can actually CV control freeze. There's also this aux CV that and mod inputs here, so you can bring in modulation into that, and the aux CV you can actually allocate that to other stuff as well. So it's got some external input flexibility on top, and then it's got some routing flexibility on top of that. Syncing is interesting as well. So you can sync obviously with the clock. Now what I've done is I've got that coming from Pamela's new workout, right, through the clock input here, and currently she is just double my my input, so I can slow that down, speed it up, whatever, through that. And that's cool because one of the things you can do, for example, is put it to speed to the short delay, right, and whack that all the way down to the fastest delay possible, and whack your feedback up, but turn your clock right up, right? So at the moment it's double. Let's put it up to 8 times now, and watch what it does. You get the carpal strong stuff, right? There's no reverb, so this is almost sounding like a reverb now. Now the cool thing about this, when you've got a really high clock, let's go even higher. Let's go to like 16. That's double 8, what we just had. So that's really, really fast clock. Now the cool thing about that is then you bring your LFO into your clock, your time, right? And you can do these things. Or you can just do wet. And another thing you can do is you can put a delay into a delay. So let's add magneto into this. Here we go. A delay into a delay. Cool fun.
Can it slow down the CPU speed or sample rate?
Not sure. Clock, you mean? Do you mean clock?
Yeah, internal clock. CPU clock.
Yeah, so
clock, yeah.
Like tip-top modules or FX8.
Yeah, so there is some stuff in there that I haven't actually tried yet, which I would say, let me just try and find this thing. My computer's really slow for some reason. Uh-oh. Did I put it in
C, you might say?
Yes, it's got a bit of Sealegs. Okay, so there's a couple of weird things that you are probably going to be interested in that side of things, Henrik. So on the actual, let's just quickly do this. Here we go. On the module itself, you've got it's got an internal LFO, right? And this modulation source here, which by the way you can actually send out as well. That's why that's black. So that modulation source there could be sent out, and you can use it on other devices. You can set this to all these different waveforms, so it's like an LFO, right? But you've got some other weird things down across here on the left, right? And then on top of that, it plays with the depth and color. So this color and depth does different things depending on what delay mode you're on. Okay, and also the other thing I haven't shown you yet is the difference between Pong and then these other two settings here. So I've pretty much just done Pong, right? And no, I don't mean making a stink in the studio.
I love you to show that, but what I meant by CPU speed or clock was, for example, if you have a delay time on 1 second, then by setting the CPU speed down, you can make the delay time longer and lower quality.
Crunchier.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
So there is some stuff in here that you can do that with. I'm just trying to find it. It's in. I'm literally got the PDF manual open. There is definitely something that you can do in there. I remember skimming over it. So this whole time part here is completely controlled by dependent on the long, medium, and short circuit of each of the delay modes. And then that also does have some sort of bearing on width as well. There's something to do with width. There's like a stereo configurator with the width. But on top of that, there is so the delay time, you can actually go counterclockwise as well. And it can go into inversions. So I think it's something to do with that, but I haven't tried that yet. And we can probably try it now.
There is.
So there'd be a way to set. I mean, obviously you can freeze anything you do as well. Now time, it's interesting how it handles time. So the easiest thing would be to check out the manual, but there's actually literally a table in the manual that maps out the time, and it's based on all the different modes, the long, medium, and short. And it tells you them in note-based times. It tells you in clock division. So you can go from ×4 to 16th. There's the clock divisions for you, Henrik. That's the maximum to the minimum, depending on long, medium, and short time modes. And in the milliseconds, we're looking at 200 milliseconds down. 3.125 milliseconds down all the way to 6 seconds. So that answers your question about the length. Yeah, 200 milliseconds on long to 6 seconds at the top. Medium is 50 milliseconds to 1.5 seconds. Short is 3.125 milliseconds to 93.75. Almost, it's almost a second there. And talks about cost, your divisions as well, and I guess kind of remembering too that this module, it's sometimes you have to kind of this is probably one criticism of it, I think. Yeah, and I can understand why they haven't done it right, but you've got to actually remember in here where that slider is, right? It doesn't have any. It's literally just a smooth slider. There's no kind of little rib marks in here to say, oh, you're on the first position here. That first position is going to be, where are we? That first position down the bottom is going to be on, what are we? We're on small. So that means that we would be on ×4, right? And then if I go all the way up here, it's ×1. But if I'm on medium, do you know what I mean? So what I think would have been cool, and probably it's just a space thing, it just would have been nice if they had like a little OLED display that just gave you some sort of visual feedback what you're doing. I guess most people playing around with delays, they probably can hear it anyway. They could probably hear the beats of the delay, and they're working it out anyway. So One of the things we haven't worked out too is with its own sync, right? Take off that, leave mod on because we want it to be able to mod. We can see what it can do in terms of clock, right? Internally. That's some insane amount of clock.
Sounds very Doctor Who.
Yeah, and that's just with just with LFO manipulation of the time, and that's also in the negative as well. So you could do it positive. So you are kind of getting that digital artifact-y sound in that real slow part of that, and then obviously you could do it the opposite way, right? Yeah, some really interesting non-clocked modes that's not synced would probably be where you'd want to go, Henry, I reckon. In terms of technical data on that, I don't know. You'd have to look at the manual. There's a massive manual, by the way. It's huge. It goes into heaps more stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff with the tape thing, like you were saying before, the modulation on the tape. So, like these symbols here that you see W and F, that's wow and flutter. You've got EF. What was EF? I forgot what EF was. There's plus and minus EF. So I've forgotten what they are. It's written here somewhere. EF is the envelope follower. That's right. So this has an envelope follower in it that you can actually send out. And so there's a negative and positive envelope follower in here. But those two modes there. Did you want to know anything about those? Because it's got
so you can do ducking.
You can do ducking. And I think in Alex's video, he did some ducking as one of the demos in it. There's a LFV in here as well, which is a low frequency vacillator, I think you say, don't you? Which is a plus or minus 10 volt meandering non-repeating vacillation of voltages, which is kind of like a noise envelope, like a really, if you ever wanted to know what that is, it's kind of like, if you imagine like a really sort of noisy sort of envelope going up and down.
I've always wanted to know, Ranz, what an electro vacillate,
low frequency vacillator.
Yeah.
It's not a low frequency vasectomy, if you're wondering.
No, it's not something you see a doctor for.
Very often.
It's got sample and hold in there as well. What else? It's got go back here again. And then you've got, so that's that one there is the low frequency vacillator. That's the sample and hold. Then you have square, sine, saw, triangle, and then all the way down the bottom you've got ramp. And there's a whole bunch of information about each one of those modulation modes too, by the way. And don't forget, modulation does control some internal stuff, but then you can also patch that modulation back in to itself. So you can just use a patch lead and patch it back into itself. You don't have to use an external LFO. So for example, I don't know if it's going to be a good one or not, but we'll try anything because we're cool. Let's go to the low frequency vacillator there. I don't even know what that does, but let's put it on. Let's put it on that, on time. Now you probably need to play with the rate here, right?
Hear it.
Words of Canada setting.
I don't know. I probably wouldn't be using that, but I guess playing with that sort of stuff, you'll find something musical in there. And also, when you're holding down the Alt button, there's a whole bunch of modulation extra features in there that you can get into. Yeah, and I haven't even half talked about what the color slider does. The color slider adds sonic artifacts that relate to the type of delay. So tape adds a drag and a degradation and dropouts. BBD adds grit by emulating a companded noise, which is clock instability. And Digimode, it adds a bit crushing and sample rate reduction to emulate old school digital delays. So the more color,
more like what Henrik's looking for there, I think. The
bit reduction there.
Sample rate reduction.
So do you want to try that?
Possibly, but
what?
Certainly add some grit.
Adds grit.
Not exactly bit reduction.
No, yeah.
What I meant was, so the effects could be longer and with another quality.
I think I know what you mean.
Yeah,
you mean more about like slowing the CPU down, the actual delay itself, so that
literally
it just becomes grungy.
DSP manipulation.
Yeah.
I just downloaded the manual, and there's nothing about it. So
nothing about it. Okay, there might be. There might be something in there. It's massive, that manual, by the way. It's like 30 pages or something. It's for 32. A delay, just for a delay thing. It's huge. Anyway, I think that's probably a bit of fun, a bit enough. Anyone questions from chatties? I think also. I probably should turn that off. When did I do that?
Delays are nice, yeah.
There we go. Question from the chatties, please. Sample and hold into a slew, good vacillations. There you go. Yeah. And one of the synths that I never knew had a slew in it until like after I did one of the firmware updates is a Bass Station 2. I bet a lot of people don't realise the Bass Station 2 has a slew option on it.
Well, it was designed to be a sort of a 303 inspired bass synth, wasn't it? So it makes sense it would have some kind of sliding, which is kind of what slew is.
Yeah. So
it has an acid filter on it. So.
One of the guys in chat said, I think it was Andy, said, looking forward to hear what you do with Sealegs. I've already put Sealegs into my last track on the latest album that's coming out. So Ian hasn't got that yet. So, it's it suits that type of music. When you hear it, you'll see what I mean. That suits that type of music perfectly. Right.
I've just seen what Grace has put in the chat.
Two of them, yes.
Grace, you're not allowed to have a credit card anywhere near you when you watch this show.
I like the Intellijel modules a lot. They're often pretty wide, though, but it does give you the sliders, which gives you more real-time craziness. So there's an advantage to that.
Yeah. Someone said in the chat, I think David said in the chat, it needs more an expander module maybe for more CV outs. Yeah, possibly. I kind of feel like it's got enough CV outs on this thing, because you really only need to send the modulation out. I don't know. Maybe if you had a buffered mult next to it, that might be handy. If you wanted to do and send this to, obviously to. I think one of the cool things about this module, it's like some of the other stuff that you buy, like the Rachel and stuff like that. How it's not just a delay effects module. You can use that modulation source to completely unrelated to delay. You can just use that for a whole bunch of cool stuff, which in a way is pretty cool. And there's a whole bunch of
free noise source too.
Free noise source, yep. And also the drive as well. So you could literally just use this as a drive circuit, and there's different modes with the drive by holding down the Alt button and mucking around with drive. And also freezing things. Darren loves to freeze things. So Darren, I know the Magneto's got a freeze on it as well.
It's too hot at the moment. Of course he likes to freeze things.
Yeah.
What's on the backside of it?
Yeah. Pretty clean looking. You'd have to pull it apart. It's pretty clean looking underneath, and it does.
Okay, no extra connections, not used.
It does have a USB connection to do firmware updates on it.
Okay.
Actually, on that subject, am I allowed to ask at this point, Chris?
Yes.
What's this bit for?
Well,
That's for firmware updates. Should the need arise.
let's talk
after-
about
Right.
let's talk
Wonderful
about his module. Hey?
explanations. Yeah, so you don't need to plug that in yet. Hopefully never.
Right. Okay.
Let's talk about his module because
It's
we
very
briefly
beautiful, by the way.
we saw it, right? We briefly saw it, and also Brooksy, that's a really good question because
I assume that's what it was. So
yeah, where are we? There. So that's what
only
Brooksy
required
was.
for beta
That's what Brooksy
testers.
was showing,
I
right?
like your ribbon. You've got a really colourful ribbon.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gave the wrong ribbon to the wrong person, and I should have given it to you.
Yeah, no,
Oh, wow.
I'm going for political reasons here. I'm going to stay with this. So yeah, so that plugs into the back of the module, and that plugs into your computer. Obviously, USB into your computer, and then you can do some firmware updates that he sends you. Right now, Chris,
Yes.
let's talk about this briefly because now we've
Sure.
got 3 of these things in the wild, right? Brooksy's got one, and Andy's got one, and I've got one.
Or will have.
So So the first thing, I guess, I'll just say is its main purpose in life is to add features to the Behringer 182 sequencer. So that's why you invented it, really, isn't it? That was its main.
Correct.
But it probably could be used in other ways that doesn't require a 182. It just probably requires a clock and some sort of CV and gate manipulation. However, I'd say it would probably be, you'd have to kind of know what you're doing to be able to do that, because one of the things that it does is it uses this left-hand side to do your CV tuning, right, your frequency, and it uses the right-hand side when it's in parallel mode, right? It uses the right-hand side to determine whether you have a ratchet, a mute, if it's right up the top here. It's very hard for you guys to see, but I'm just moving that. Can you guys see that clearly? So you can see the top notch on that is pointing directly to 12 o'clock, right? And then if I move that to the left, that then becomes a single gated sort of thing. So if I show that, let's get rid of the Sealegs now so we can just hear it. If I was to move this now into ratchet mode, any one of these that you see is to the right of 12 o'clock will ratchet, and any one to the left will be a normal gate, right? And any one of these that's at 12 o'clock will be muted. So let's mute a few. So that's actually really cool. So what he's done is he's gone, I can actually use this as a control input source. And that's why you've got the CV input on here, right? Because this is literally controlling that part of the logic of his module. The different modes, Chris, just want to sing through these. So that's purple, right? The next one is...
Yep.
What mode's the next one?
Orange, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's an orange. Yeah.
I've got the manual open.
I got it here.
Yeah, so that is a... Yeah.
Next one's orange. It's
So the
complex and random.
yeah.
Complex and random,
Yeah.
Yep.
Talk about that a little bit. So these two
Sure.
knobs. These two knobs do what?
Just hang on a sec. Fortunately, I bring up an old PDF which had the old layout of these. Of course I would do
Chris,
that, wouldn't I?
Do you want me to send you the current one then?
No, if you could just give me a couple of minutes.
I'll just read what it says here.
HIT
It's complex
together.
and random
Yeah.
is a duo gate and ratchet mode. It creates random elements of gate and ratchets. So your CV input is here somewhere, right? Your CV1 input is gate offset, okay? So that you would be controlling the gate offset with this row of potentiometers here. And then your CV2 would be the gate mult and divider switch knob, and then these two knobs you'd have. This is your gate division and ratchet, okay, and this one here is your independent fixed clock divider. So the more you go to the right, the more divisions, right? The more you to the left. I think there's a spot where is it to the top or slightly to the left? I forget which one it is. It doesn't divide at all, right? It's just one.
Yeah,
So there.
not one is division by one, so it's
Yeah,
clock in, clock
right
out.
at the top, yeah. And then as you go all the way around, like 360 until you get back to there, so it just keeps dividing all the way. This is something that I didn't work out until just, like, don't forget, I've only had this for like 24 hours, basically.
Is clockwise multiply and
No.
and anti-clockwise
Clockwise divides all the way until you get right back around. So it just goes, so technically, right? So if you go
It's
to
only
the
a
left,
positive, yeah.
if you go to the left, you're going to the most highest division. But if you go to the right, you're starting at the lowest division, and then you're slowly increasing as you go clockwise
divide?
around.
Yeah.
That's the
So
first
that
thing
would
that I...
increase the
So
number of
the
trills you get, the number
So-
of the trills in the ratchet, the number of beats in the ratchet.
Yeah,
the
Right,
top
yeah,
one
yeah.
is what you use to
That's your
set
ratchet
the base. Your ratchet there, and depending on that's the other thing as well. Of course, is this is just the first two modes.
yeah.
There's
Then you've
another
got-
six
then you've got-
modes which do totally different things.
Bernoulli gate, right?
Bernoulli gate, I was told.
Bernoulli,
Sounds
Bernoulli,
cool.
yeah.
which is a 1 to 8 clock shuffle on that position. 1 to 8 clock shuffle. So what am I getting out of this? So on my
Okay,
left side, that's my CV, that's my pitch. On my right side, I'm getting the gate
Probability.
multiplier. Right, probability.
is it probability? Sorry, hang on. Bernoulli
No,
gate mode.
it says gate
is
multiplier.
Step and mute. Yep, no, that's gate lengths. Then, yeah, step and mute. So,
Yep.
so
that's still the same?
So, no,
And then
it's different.
Oh, CV2 is the probability.
Sorry, yeah. CV2. Well, CV2 is always hooked up to the 182's second channel.
Yeah.
And I almost shouldn't put it on the chart, actually, because you almost always have it plugged in that way. But
All right. Do you want to try this?
thoroughness.
Should we give this a go?
Yeah, sure.
So
Yep,
this is all literally probability. So why don't let's do a 4. I think 4 would probably be an easy one to sort of work out that where's 4? Is
Does
it
the
4?
Bernoulli gate work like mutable branches? Is this some kind of Bernoulli gate?
The Bernoulli gate only... Actually, yes, it is definitely... Yeah, probability of the step. Yep, correct. So the further you turn it right, the higher the probability with 100% to the right, setting 100% all the time will play that note, and all the way to the left will never play that note. So yeah, it's pretty much the same as branches.
So left is like least probability, right is more probability,
Yeah.
right?
Correct, yeah.
So if we just concentrate on, say, step 6 here, right? It's almost hitting it every time, but then it missed it then. Yeah, cool, nice. I like it. I like it a lot. So there you go,
This is going
Bernoulli
to
mode.
so expand the capabilities of that 182.
Yeah,
Yeah,
This is brilliant, Chris.
it is amazing, isn't it?
Oh, cheers. No, the random stuff took a bit of time to sort of get my head around what would actually be musically interesting. But yeah, it didn't take long to test it and find out, because you go, okay, I'm just standing back here. That's creating music for me. Yeah, which is what you want really with any kind of randomization.
Yeah, I actually bought a 182 so I can play with it. I got it on sale.
Just to turn it from being like I'm listening to a machine to I'm listening to some entity doing something, and it suddenly comes to life.
Now, the other one that really kind of piqued my ears was the full burst mode one, which is, I'm skipping a couple of modes here. So I'll quickly go back.
Green mode.
Let me just quickly mention the other two modes first. So the next one is red mode, which is rest and hold, which is basically like a clock shuffle with rest and hold. Then you've got
It's actually variable step length.
Yeah.
The red and cyan are both variable step length.
So this one is rest and repeat.
Yep.
And then
So instead of holding a note, it repeats the note.
Yep. And then the next one is the full burst mode, which is the one that really interested me. Now, can you just explain it? Because I kind of don't really know how to explain this, but your video was really cool. So go explain this one.
Okay, so the in full burst mode, the two dials, the two orange dials, control. The top dial controls how long your sequence will play for before it ceases to play, and the second dial controls how long to rest for before playing it again.
Yeah. Now,
so basically, orange knob, then the top orange knob plays, and the bottom orange knob rests. The top knob plays, the bottom one rests, and so on and so forth.
So
but it's still processing the steps. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get that, but what you would use this for, right? So what you would use this for, which I think is actually really, really genius. This is genius, and that is that you've got a whole bunch of stuff sequenced, right, in your gear. You've got drum sequence. You might have a nice little arpeggiator going. You might have something else sequenced through a proper step sequencer, and then you might want to just send off a little burst of sequenced notes, but then stop, right, whilst everything is still going, right? But that is kind of what this does. It sends off a burst of sequenced notes and then rests, and that you can control how long the rest is and how many notes it bursts off, which is, it's just genius. It's really, really cool. I guess the easiest way to demonstrate it is to have a drum machine just playing in the background, so you can hear that just beating away, and then this thing starting and then stopping and having a rest, and then starting and stopping on some sort of interval, right? So what would you set this to? Let's just get this. Let's get these knobs in the right spot. What would you set them to?
Right. So the first one, I'm just checking if that's in full burst mode. It's in beats. So the numbers are a beat. So one beat is like 4 steps.
Yeah.
Or
So one.
If you're in,
I'm in 1 now.
So So if you set it to say 2. That would play the whole sequence from the 182 through, and then if you set the second one to also 2, then it'll not play it for a whole 8 steps.
Cool. You give it a go.
So that'll should get you a pretty typical sort of.
Let's turn the drums on. Probably should bring these all over.
Yeah, I think so. Is it all the way over or full burst mode? Rest and hold. So
right.
Yeah, that's now in full rest mode. So perhaps try the 12 o'clock positions.
Top positions. So 12 o'clock.
Yeah, 12 o'clock. I reckon. Yep.
All right, let's get this thing. Waiting a bit longer, right?
It's playing the sequence. Yeah. Set it longer. Gaps in between.
2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How cool is that? And you can make it even longer and longer and longer.
So you're humanizing it.
You're turning a repeat into an actual riff.
Yeah,
I call it.
Yeah,
because you're kind of riffing with it. Because you're doing it's a bit like muting on your desk or something, but you're doing it on the source sequence rather than on a desk output, which means you can do things like put a massive delay on the signal, and before that delay builds up to complete mess, it's just left to echo in the pause between the sequences.
I'm on the wrong. Hang on a sec. I'm going to slow this down. Here we go. I've just slowed the clock down.
Okay.
From Pam's.
Oh, you were doubled, were you?
I was quadrupled. I'm doubled now.
Yes, David.
Yes. So millions and millions of possibilities of this little baby here. And there's one more. There's the off-white. There's one more setting on this. The off-white. The off-white. Here we go.
Yeah.
There's the off-white.
You This is a bit crazy because this one really was the experimental first mode I ever made. So it was just literally each CV was directly controlling the primary effect of either dividing the clock or doing the ratcheting. Sorry, holding the gate or doing the ratcheting.
Right.
So that one's a bit hard to control because it's not particularly intuitive. It's just very powerful.
Yeah.
So that's one. That's kind of like, you know, for if you really want to do something outside of the box and you don't necessarily want to understand exactly why what's happening is happening. So that's where you can do things like just chuck 2 different unsynchronized LFOs into each CV input and just fiddle and just see what comes out.
Yeah. And before we even finish talking about, you know, the clock stuff that it does, you've also got a precision adder on the right hand side.
Correct. Yeah, so that which I personally have been using to transpose the sequence.
Yep.
From the beat step or the key step.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, right?
Tell us more. Quickly.
Let's.
I alluded to this before.
Let's know
Andrew
about
and
this.
I've had discussions about this. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell us about how you do that.
Okay, so this is an old trick from like ARP 2600, so ARP 2500 days. Actually.
2500. Yep.
Yeah. So what you do is that you've got a standard sequencer playing CV signals, and then you've got a traditional CV keyboard.
Yep.
And both those voltages, if you put them into a precision adder,
Yep.
it will transpose the sequence up or down according to the volt.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it transposes up in CV land. So in 1 volt per octave land.
Yeah.
So you got you both as long as both sequences are 1 volt per octave or the same standard anyway.
So let's do it.
Yeah. So you can check it. Have you got a key
So
step handy?
I have got
Let's.
I have got Nifty Case CV, right? So Nifty Case CV is actually MIDI CV. So MIDI CV, which so basically I'm controlling the CV from a key step. And I could literally just go straight out of the back of the key step, by the way, but this is via MIDI, doesn't matter. So CV is pitch coming into there, and then the other one is...
I would take the output of the quantizer, not the input. So take the output of the quantizer into the Y input. I found I got better results post quantization.
The longer cable, people.
Right. Taking care.
Gonna need a bigger cable.
Yeah. Longer cable. Right. And then another.
And now to go back into your oscillator.
There used to be
X plus Y.
There used to be
yes.
There used to be a New Zealand Prime Minister called Ivor Longy. Yeah. So so that's correct, right? So we're doing.
I think so.
To
yes.
that. Okay. Yes. So now I should be able to transpose the sequence. Are we ready?
So
we are.
It could end up being very high frequency, I would suspect. Depending on what your last key played was.
Shit.
And perhaps... Ooh, are you missing a clock?
I haven't got it yet.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Now, why I'm not hearing anything? Oh, because these are all muted, duh.
Yeah, that's... I warned you were going to get high frequencies because usually your CV output is left wherever your last. So you've got the nifty keys, right?
Yeah. On
the nifty keys, switch your octave down to the lowest it can go.
Mm-hmm.
And now hit your bottom C key. That'll give you the root note.
Got it.
So now play it again. And yeah. And then go up an octave.
There you go. Oh, okay, Boxy, you were asking me before. about the. I think you were asking me about the tuner when you were saying portamento. I think you were hearing the quantizer.
No. I thought I could hear
portamento.
the notes slewing, but when you took something out and it clearly wasn't there. So it was an audio illusion that, like,
it was. It's the decay of the envelope. Yeah. So there is a bit of quantized mangling going on there. You can hear it because don't forget
you get quantizer jumps. Yes, you do.
Yeah, because if you don't get
that's not
right on the
what I
right
was
spot.
hearing.
Yeah.
It's not really
To be perfectly honest, that isn't my favourite quantizer.
No, it's not mine either.
2
But
HP one.
I have to fit the show. I have to fit the show in.
Well,
No, not criticising, because I'm doing exactly the same thing. I'm using it here. It's just that I'm using it so much now. I know everything that I hate about it.
I've got
a lot of things I like about it too.
Actually, the quantizer that Brooksy's got is a good one. The one that he's got.
Is that the dope for one?
I've got the dope
the
for,
dual.
Yeah, I've got the dope for dual quantizer. Again, there are things about it that slightly irritate me. There's a way apparently of making the two channels, because you've got channel 1, which is just chromatic, and then channel 2, which you can set in all different ways. And there's some kind of switch or one of those things that you pull off or whatever on the back of it, which
jumper.
That's the word, a jumper, which makes channel 1 the same as where's my jumper? Where's my jumper? Was that? Oh, who sang Where's My Jumper?
I distracted you now.
I'm thinking the Beatles. I'm thinking Oompa.
Where's my jumper?
Where's my
I have any problems with that. I have the same quantizer. I use it with my touring machine. It works fine. So.
Yeah, I was going to.
It's the Behringer module.
I need another small quantizer. So I was another, which I was actually thinking about the 2 HP. Sultans of Pink. Thank you, Steve Elbows. Yeah.
What did you say?
It's the song "Where's My Jumper." Where's
Sultans
my jumper?
of Pink.
Yeah, it's a song, isn't it? That makes sense. That's where I would have got it from. I've so much 90s music has gone into my ear and out the other over the years.
I love that Roland sound. It's so good, isn't it?
Steve Elbows. Now transpose.
Where's my jumper? Oh, copyright problem. Yes.
Where's my jumper? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, that is an exceptionally cool module. So yeah. Now, Chris,
thank you for
start
saying
using
that. Yeah.
tell us about the future. So what's the plan, and when is this going to be released into the wild? The wild.
Okay, the plans could change, but at this point in time, my thoughts are to make sure that we get a little bit of beta testing done so that we can be pretty confident with that firmware, because as we alluded to before, upgrading the firmware is unfortunately a bit difficult to do in the field for every user without asking them to pay for a program module for them to source it themselves, which frankly is actually cheaper than I can get them. But so the idea is to get the firmware locked down a bit more and stable, and then I don't see any reason why I can't just at least there's going to be at least 8 or 9 available built, but I will have to I will be assembling made to order, I think they call it. So but in my spare time I'll probably, if I'm getting pre-orders or something, but at this stage it's going to be available on my Etsy store. I will consider Ranzee.
Sorry.
I am considering doing an early bird type release thing. So if people are absolutely gagging for it, like Brooksy Brooksy hit me up, so he got an early version and agreed to be a guinea pig because he was desperate for something like this. And Ranzee loves this kind of stuff, so he was desperate for it as well. So fair enough. I'm happy to work with people who want things earlier. But yeah, then I want to be in a more of a commercial situation where I can actually produce decent numbers and stuff like that. And that, of course, means spinning up a bit more manufacturing.
I have a question about that actually, Chris, because I'm just looking at this.
Because I'm just one person.
I'm going.
And they are hand-built.
I am looking at this and going, is this really hand built? Because it's beautiful.
Oh, cool! Thank you.
The soldering. Not that I know anything about soldering, but it's so precise.
Soldering.
I also noticed. Shut up. It's got an L in it, and there's a.
Let him speak. Let him speak. Come on.
I noticed on this board here that there's an empty socket here. You got these two chips either side. There's an empty socket. I was wondering if there were further plans for that particular socket, and if so, what might they be? Are you allowed to say?
I can say that this is not the last. It is the first, but it's certainly not the last module I'm going to be manufacturing. So that chip is to do with what's probably coming next. I've hoping for 2 modules coming after this one, during this one's actual being actually sold, hopefully. There will be overlaps. I've got one module which is a fairly simple module, and it's fairly proven in my development system over there that I will be trying to manufacture first. And then I'm going to do something with that chip. It's going to be a dual 12-bit DAC. So it's going to be something involving 2 12-bit channels of analog signal. So stay tuned, and I don't want to reveal anything to you yet because I kind of haven't decided yet. But there are so many possibilities.
You don't have to.
How do you
it's different control panel, same CPU board. To be honest, I'm taking everything one quantum leap at a time.
Okay,
cool. One thing to remember too is that, like, let's go back to the PG82, right? This sequencer is annoyingly simple. After you've probably played with it for a day, you're just like, you start to yawn because it really does have a very limited amount of what it can do. I mean, the way you patch it is kind of the magic with it, but it really is limited. And the first thing that you're going to say is, I wish this thing could ratchet. I wish this thing could do some of those more modern things that you see in sequences, right? And now it can with this module. It's literally, all you have to do is just sit that next to it, patch it through, and then away you go. And the patching is relatively simple, the way Chris has explained it in the manual. Relatively simple. These knobs, yes, depending on the mode. This is a digital module, if you haven't worked out, by the way. But these modes, you need to know what color represents the mode. But 9 times that most people would probably just be in that first mode when they're playing with this, because that's pretty much what it's built for. And the other modes are kind of like, when you start to become a little bit more adventurous and you want to do, the Bernoulli and or whatever, that's where it starts to become a bit more fun.
Hey Chris, what's your Etsy channel? People are asking for the link.
No, we don't have that yet.
Yeah, no worries. I will get the Etsy link shortly.
You don't have it up yet? Okay. I mean, not for this, for other stuff that you have.
Yeah, we don't have that yet.
But I am. Let me just check, because I've set up my domain to point to it, I think. Let's have a look.
Why are you getting that sorted, Chris?
Makeshift modular.
Why are you doing that? So just with this, guys, just bear in mind that Chris is currently in beta testing mode with this. So this is not actually a publicly available product just yet. He wants us and a few people who have played with the 182 module. They know it really well, so that it can put it through its paces. I mean, just before when he was talking, I was putting an LFO into the clock input just to sort of see how it would behave. So fast clocks and slow clocks and things like that. So it's pretty good. Like you'd expect it to behave. I think in a sense that the only thing that's going to let this module down is the 182 module itself. It's not Chris's module. It's the 182 module, and it's because it's a faithful recreation of what Roland made in the 1970s. So the technology in that is really like it's kind of not. It didn't even know about some of the stuff we do in electronic music now, right? If you got to think about it that way. So the fact that he's got this thing, and he's I don't know. Dare I say, Chris? Dare I say that this 182 module? How much are these, Brooksy, now? About 70, 80 pounds?
Quid.
90 quid?
Something
right?
like that. Yeah.
We don't know how much this is yet, so don't ask, okay? But that plus that is a damn sight cheaper than an Intellijel Metropolis. And that pretty much gives you...
That's the hope, yes.
And that pretty much gives you an Intellijel Metropolis. Not a Metropolis, not the new one, but the original one, the Metropolis, right? And that is going to be,
and
a cool thing.
And also the cool thing is that because it's patched rather than manufactured as one single sequencer, you can muck about with it and make it do things that it wasn't really designed to do.
Yeah, which is what we're going to do. So give us. I mean, what we're saying here is, you guys are seeing it. You're excited. We're excited. Don't worry, we're all excited. But it's a little bit like, give us a chance to sort of see what this thing can do. I'm going to be putting this thing through its paces. In fact, I'm actually going to be seeing what it can do with the Metropolis. It's one of the things I told Chris I'll be doing.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah,
that's because cool, you can ratchets.
Well, I'm going to have to say
it's really commendable.
Ratchet. Was that Roger Ratchet? Yeah.
It's really
I'm going to try
commendable.
with the Def for Dark time at some point because
cheers.
I had to buy a Def
Thanks,
for Ratchet module for it.
Right.
So.
Right, go on, Ian. Go.
No, I've said it. I'll just repeat it. I was just saying how commendable I think it is that Chris has done all this work. Because manufacturing is not easy, and it takes time to do this sort of stuff. And so,
it's quality.
Well
it really
done.
is. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. That was the first thing I said to Chris when I made it up.
Ask a quick question, Chris.
Go.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
Andy's asking, can it work with the Metropolis? Can you use it with the Metropolis in any way? And
Ranzee and I see no reason why it can't.
I don't think you'll have a problem with it.
We're not entirely sure what it's going to do.
Just bear in mind
it does our heads in.
Just bear in mind that the Metropolis doesn't have the same connectivity that the 182 does. So that's going to be where I might have to scratch my head a bit. Yeah. So there might be, for example, I might need to use a voltage block and a Metropolis to be able to achieve the same thing. Or maybe I might use a voltage block and a variegate with your module to achieve. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of things that we can try. But yeah, one of the reasons is because you've got all these CV controls on the right that do functions like, for example, ratchet, mute, and gate, right? Or left is gate, top is mute, and right is ratchet. And then on other modes, it does other things. So the Metropolis module is, let me get it out. It's here somewhere. It's different in its layout, right? It's a different layout. So let's have a look at the Metropolis module, people. This is the original, not the new one. I am making that very clear to everyone. Okay, so there's the Metropolis module. I don't have the CV control of that right-hand lane there out on this. I don't think I've only got one pitch output.
Well, there's
on
two
this.
aux-ins. Can we?
There's two aux-ins that I can manipulate things with. Yeah, you can assign aux to things. Okay, but this is the thing. So don't expect this thing to be like doing funky stuff to this yet. This is just a thought that we've had, and it's nowhere near developed for that. So that's the problem. Okay, so I'm going to paste the link to his Etsy shop. Give me a sec. Let me just see if it works. Yay. No. Copy. Link. Sorry, guys. It's in the chat. Etsy shop. Ready, set, go.
Yeah, sorry, I pasted it before, but I can't paste links. So, and I'm not sure what was the best way to get it out. But
Yeah,
there
I
it
mean,
is.
watch
that space.
We're not on. The cool thing about Chris being in the same city as me, we can get things done pretty quickly together. Same time zone, not that far apart in terms of travel time. It's if we need to meet up, things like that, we can do stuff. So there won't be a problem there. And I don't think. I mean, like I said, there's Maleko's Variegate, there's the Voltage Block, there's the Metropolis, there's. I'm thinking there's other sequences in. Here's the 960 from Behringer, the what do you call it? The
960
Moog,
clone.
the Moog one.
Moog style sequencer. Yep.
So
That'll be interesting.
That'll be interesting. And both Brooksy and I
Yeah.
have that. And
Exactly. Yeah.
Brooksy, do you have the additional module for that too? That
Yeah, I do.
okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that courtesy of Wagyu, actually. Thanks, Wagyu.
And I'm just thinking there's another sequence in here that I've got. I just kind of can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, so yeah, let's have a play and see what we can come up with. Who knows? There might end up being another mode. There might
Yes,
be a
we may
Metropolis
end
mode
up-
or something.
Yes, we may. Well, there are configuration pages which I haven't shown anyone yet. Specifically, some of them to do with working with the 960.
Yeah.
So I'll be communicating those to the beta group, and we'll work through those.
Yeah.
There are more options available, just depending on how much room I have left in the firmware.
So
We can add more.
The
more
only
stuff.
question I guess I had was because we're using that right hand lane to do certain functions with the sequencer, right? It means that we can only use the left hand lane. Like so, this can be a 16 step sequencer
Exactly.
in its own
I've
right.
never used it in 16 steps.
I've never
only
used it
ever
in
used
16
8.
either,
Hmm.
but
Interesting,
people
isn't it?
do use it in 16, right?
Mm.
So that means that it basically creates that limitation of that 182 can only be an 8-step sequencer, right? In that sense, is that right, Chris? Would I have
Well,
that right?
yeah. In the configuration, in order to provide you with the way those knobs line up.
Yeah.
But someone has already mentioned that you could buy 2 182 sequences.
Right.
I don't have 2 personally, so I haven't explored
Or
that. But
you could have
it's an interesting
8,
possibility.
or you could just have 8 potentiometers mounted
The-
on a PCB.
You could make a kind of an expander or a version of
Yeah.
another module that is the 182 combined with a set of additional pots, so that you don't need to butcher your 182's
And then you could-
capabilities. It's
then you could run
definitely
that
possible.
in series mode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it could go anywhere.
it's interesting sorry, Chris. I was going to say I've got 182 in here. Actually, I don't know if you can I move that round so that you can see that better up there. Right, there you go. Oh, so in bloody thing in the lower case, there's the 182 and the synth voice, the 110 synth voice that
110.
Ranzee has been using. Yeah, the 110.
Yeah.
But if you look above in the upper case, in the bottom row there,
960.
that's almost no. I mean in the lower row.
Sorry.
That's all
Okay.
of the rest of the System 100 System 100 modules. But I would quite like another 182 sequencer to keep that as a complete system, if you know what I mean. Because I've only got the one, and it's been used for a specific job down here. So I'm thinking of getting another one. So just for completeness' sake. So anyway, there we are. But yeah, you can see the 960 is up in the that corner there.
Takes up a lot of HP, that thing, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does,
Let me
but
just-
the
well,
thing is, the
ultimately we'll
960s,
come out of that rack.
the 960 is different to the 182, like a lot different.
Very.
So
Very different.
I kind of feel like you actually make different music with a 960 than you do with a 182. That's the way I see it.
Yes.
You probably
Yeah.
can get them to do both the same thing, but it would be not very many things similar. It would be some basic things similar, right? And I kind of feel like your 960 is your quintessential Tangerine Dream style stuff, right? Whereas your 182, it can be real sort of techno acid, more trance,
Berlin
that,
school,
Berlin school. So it kind of heads down that route. And now you've got this GP82 module that you've done, Chris. It turns it into, a very modern sequencer, which is actually really exciting for people. And like we said before, £70, what is it, 160, 170 bucks Australian for the 182 module in Australia. It's probably around $100 US, right, Andy? For that Behringer module.
Oh, the 182
Yep.
actually was on sale recently for $80.
$80. Wow,
Oh,
what
wow.
a cheap sequencer.
It's
That
tempting
is-
to just
that
get
is
some.
insane, isn't it, hey? It's tempting to get another one. Yeah, I seriously thought about getting another one too.
Check.
Yeah. Okay. So where are we? All right. Thanks. So we're gonna stop that. So any questions about the Sealegs and the 182? Highlight my name in the chat, and we'll see if we can get to them before we finish the show. We've got another segment to get to though, which some of the gentlemen here have put effort into. So we need to show it. We need to give them respect and say, "Hey, guys,
Absolutely.
thanks for your time." And that's Price Watch. No, I didn't use my own sledgehammer, and yeah. Okay, didn't we have this last week? We did.
Yes.
Guess what? I'm going to hit refresh, and that should disappear. Hey, now Brooksy has sent this one in, and this man, I tell you, he knows exactly what I'm interested in. The PG 800. What the heck? Like £1,600 for something that never cost £1,600 in its life.
They're rare.
They're not that rare. Come on, they are not that rare.
PG 300 is pretty rare. I have one of those. So
I mean, these could be remade pretty inexpensively, right? So the logic that's in these, in fact, there's guys that have remade them. There's companies that have remade them. I can't.
well, the
remember.
1000 is the fancy one for the D50. That one's crazy.
That one is crazy. That one I can see being.
Yeah, crazy money too.
But I mean, why?
You
why
can
can't
pick-
we? What was the PG
Actually,
800
this-
for? The PG 800 was for the
The JX8P
JXAP.
JX8P, right?
and the MKS70. I think.
MKS70. Why
Which
couldn't
you
that
used
be
to
the?
have.
Why couldn't Roland's Boutique, have a firmware update for those old synthesizers and Roland's Boutique be used? That's what I'm saying. Like,
Use
why
an
do we?
iPad.
Or use an iPad, exactly. Why do we have to buy this crap?
The same picture is on live on eBay now at £531.
Maybe he's changed his price.
Oh,
Is it
is
the
it?
same dude?
So maybe I think I'm not sure.
It's located in Japan. I
Yeah,
think I sent this
okay,
to on
okay.
Thursday, Rans, didn't I?
Yeah.
It's exactly the same. So he's dropped his price.
Ian, don't
I'm
spoil it.
sorry.
Wait, wait.
I'm sorry.
They're trying to show people that this guy's
I'm sorry.
he's taken the P155. Right.
And he's realised now.
Well, he was. He
Yeah, he's
clearly
realised
was,
it
wasn't
now.
he?
I hope it's not the same dude. But Brooksy's also found this one, a Pro 1 for £2,100.
I was just checking.
Holy snapping! That's a lot of money for a Pro 1.
Yeah, but there were others that were cheaper. It went from 1,300. 1,300. There's one at 1,500. Then I found this one at 21.
But
does
includes the
look
manual.
Just because I was and manual. Well, I could sell mine plus manual.
You're
as well, as
researching.
I keep going on about.
Aren't you, Brooksy?
Yeah, I'm
You're
just having a look. Now mine's been fully sponged and in full working order. I'm not planning to sell it, by the way, folks. Just in case you're wondering.
You're
But
just
I just wanted to
researching.
know,
Yeah.
just for my own.
Tell the insurance company, hey,
ego.
I can get
For
2,100 for
quid.
this. Yeah. And the rest of
yeah,
these,
yeah.
so that was the two sent in from Andy. Thanks very much, mate, for doing that. The rest of these were sent in from the other Andy, which is Synth Addict. So well done, mate. Oh, that was Schwayman S1.
Well,
These are getting nasty now. I mean,
still my beating heart.
the guy's passed on. It's sad. He made a lot of stuff.
Grace, stop it.
Jeez.
Sorry, Ranz.
Fair enough. Anyway, Andy, would you like an S1? What would you do with an S1?
To be honest, I know they're valuable because they are high quality, and also they went up when the guy died, which is sad. But I don't really have a hankering for them. But I guess I'd have to hear them first. I know their quality because everyone talks about them forever. They used to have a whole wall of them at Big City Music in near Burbank, and it was like, holy smokes! It's beautiful stuff, and it's expensive as hell. Even back then, it was expensive. This was when I first started buying modular like 5-6 years ago. And so, yeah, it's one of those rarefied air stuff. I would never touch it anyway, So
Yeah.
It's got plenty of knobbage, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's knobtastic. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's just a glorified mono synth, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's plenty of these around. You don't have to get a Strymon. You can get, Behringer. Anyway, dare I say it. EMS polysynthy.
Oh.
It's Kent's favorite.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've
I've always loved the colours of this. It's been amazing.
Yeah, it's like it plays.
Looks like a teaching synth. Yeah.
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 Well, this is what I thought of when the Moog ones came out with the color. I'm like, hey, that reminds me of this old thing.
It's had a $10,000 price drop.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. I know, right? Back of the
Looks in
Ferrari
nice
stuff. I know, guys.
Fairly
I can hear you
nice
saying
condition.
it. I can hear you saying it.
Yeah.
30,000 US. These are US dollars, by the way, for all the
that-
Andy ones.
This is crazy for a sun synth.
Yeah. This is crazy. And sail all the way across it. Like
They're
sail.
nice, but they're
Yeah.
not that
More like
nice.
you're going to sail away with my money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Different word, sail, by the way. Isn't English language amazing? How you can say the same thing, but it means something else. Next, MU5000. Yes, the prototype. Never released.
Well, it looks fascinating.
I never even knew about this thing. So what does this do? It's a musical PC, right?
No idea what it is.
No, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's I think it's just a brain. It's just a sound module.
Sorry, can't help myself. What do we got here? A Lin 1, LM1.
Oh.
They're going to be a Behringer soon, right? Sell
Yeah.
these. Sell these quick. Get
Just
your money.
hurry up before they sell it.
Yeah. Get your money. Gimme.
Yeah.
It's just
There's another company making them as well. We've shown on
samples
Who
on
is
the
it?
people.
Yeah.
Pro Synth Network.
The other week.
It's just
Yeah,
a sample.
Roger Lynn did a video.
Yeah,
didn't
it
he,
was-
with the
Yeah. He's probably trying to sue them right now. Keep going.
No, he isn't. No.
1977 Sennheiser VSM 201 vocoder. Now, this
Oh God.
would be amazing if someone remade this because it's
Yeah.
actually, if I remember rightly, this is the one that they used to make the Cylon voice in Battlestar Galactica, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah,
It is.
I want that.
I think it is.
Because a lot of people don't know how to make it.
it was one of the Sennheisers. I don't know which model, but
Yeah,
it was a
yeah.
Sennheiser,
I'm pretty sure it was this
By
one.
your command.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know how to make it. Oh, okay, well, Goose correcting me. No, that's the EMS vocoder. All right, cool.
Yeah, that's.
I- I thought it was something weird like that, yeah. But it wasn't one of yours, like, it wasn't the Roland,
But Kraftwerk used
DP
the
330.
Sennheiser vocoder.
Kraftwerk used it. Right, there you go. Well, that is not worth $27,000, though. Just saying.
Nah.
No.
But it was used by Daft Punk. Not this
Yeah,
one,
but
but it was.
Case of it, isn't it?
Isn't that a bit misleading? I bought this really cool thing that Daft Punk used. No, you didn't. They're just saying that they used it. They didn't say they used the one that you bought. Anyway,
Yeah.
we have finished. Price Watch, people. What was your favourite?
The EMS Synthy.
The Synthy.
The EMS. Yeah. That would be mine.
Synthesizer.
Not that
Because I've got one.
The EMF
Not that
synthesizer.
Yeah.
What do I need to do? I need to do something for Mr. Mac. Where are we? Where are we? We're doing this. Okay. Sorry, guys. I need to control the PTZ camera. We're going across the room. You guys can't see this yet. but we will be there in a second. It will cross over live to the other side of the room with modern technology.
This is like sports coverage.
Now we're on the other side of the room. Welcome to the dusty side of the room. Do you guys remember that?
thing?
Do you remember that thing? It's called an MX1. Sorry, it's got a deck saver on it. It's got a deck saver
It's
on
in demo mode.
it. It's in demo mode because it's been sitting there.
That's. I was going to say that's
you
how
go.
much Rance is using.
There you go. Tear rate's gone through it.
Oh yeah. It's alive.
Right. Why am I showing you the MX1? Well, apparently, according to Stephen or Mac in the chat, Macrodos, you guys will see him as, he's told us, or told me, that little sucker there it's rumoured that it can plug into your MPC or your Akai Force, and you can use it now with your MPC or Akai Force. So, I haven't had a chance to do this yet, but I thought maybe next week on the show we give it a good old captain chance. We give it a try. We give it a crack, as they say in Australia. Right?
That sounds like a plan.
And if it
More
doesn't
live
work,
driver installs.
no. Apparently, it's just the latest firmware which this has got. So I looked at the Roland website.
Yeah, because
and I looked
beforehand, there are a lot of MIDI controllers you could use with the Force.
Yeah.
That one demo guy was doing on Sonic State.
Yep.
So
this is not for MIDI control. This is an audio device, as an actual audio device.
sure, but I mean, you could use the mixing functions with the MIDI controller.
Yeah,
so
yeah, true.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, with Ableton. It's got a couple of different modes as well. So we might have to muck around with the modes on it and all that sort of stuff. But basically, that would actually be really, really cool. And in the meantime, look, if anyone wants to play with theirs, and if they've got both of those items that I just mentioned, that MPC or Force and an MX1, please join us on Discord during the week, and we can discuss any things that could get it going.
MX1's the only Ira thing I don't have.
Well,
Never
for
got
me,
one. I was going to get one.
I think Mac used to have one, and he moved his on. For me and Darren, we both got an MX1. I actually really like it.
I still like it now.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's one
Probably
of
the best one, actually.
Yeah, I think it's one of the best Roland era products that they brought out. Maybe the TR8 would be my favorite era. How do you say it? Like Ira, I think it is, right?
It's supposed to be Ira.
You've got them both.
Like Iowa, little.
Yeah.
Iowa.
I think it's got that
Ira.
Japanese sort of sound, isn't it? It's
Well,
Ira.
Well, my wife Ira, she uses it over there, so
Yeah.
it's a terrible accent. I know. Sorry,
Yeah.
that's why I remember it anyway. It's an Ira.
Ira.
It's like the
Yeah.
best word.
Ira. Sounds right.
Yeah, and as he says in the chat, it interests me as well when he told me that, because it's not class compliant, but apparently it supposedly works. So we are going to check it out, and we'll do that next week. We'll do it. And we'll
Roland not
blow up the
class
studio.
compliant? That's shocking.
What's the world coming to?
They did listen to us with the JDXi. They did listen to us. We had a whinge about their class compliant non-compliance, class non-compliance, and they brought that JDXi out, and they gave it two different modes. They gave it the Roland mode and the non-Roland mode, which you can use normally, which is pretty cool. Okay, I'm not going to do that, Wigoo, because I just don't trust you, Wigoo. I don't trust you.
It's going to be Hatsune Miku.
Unfiltered translation.
Yeah, paste this into and then get a copy and get some sort of YouTube ban because of what I've just said.
You're swearing.
He's like,
Some
you
hentai
can
website,
trust me.
probably.
You can trust me.
Making mischief.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Wagyu does.
Do you guys enjoy tonight? Was that fun playing with the Sealegs, playing with Chris's module? Yeah, was that cool?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was cool. Thank you, Ranz, for demoing. Going to take it over to Grace's in a bit. We'll give it a first run through.
Yeah.
She's already said she's got some ideas, which means matriarch.
Yes. Oh, lovely. Well, I had it. I've got the SEO2 sitting over there, and I had the SEO2 sitting just here. But I can't have it sitting here because I've got the Show's APC mini pad thing here, and I haven't got the space. So normally I swap them over. And I use the sequencer to sequence the Roland SEO2 synth. And there's some... The thing I love about the Roland SEO2 synth is, A, it doesn't take up as much space as a matriarch, but it's basically a Studio Electronics mini Moog, 3 oscillator, mini Moog basically, but it's got patch memory, right? Which is killer, because one of the things I absolutely can't stand about a mini Moog is the fact that you have to dial in your patches manually every single time, and this thing you have to start
from scratch every time.
Yeah.
Runs.
Photograph. Photograph.
What are you on about? What are you going on about?
It is modular, mate.
Not having patch memory.
The secret's coming out. He doesn't have a true modular soul.
I have been clearing out this.
He wants everything. He wants patch memory.
Oh, yeah. Do I what?
I have been I've been clearing stuff out this week, and when we're talking about having to keep patch memories, there is my original.
He's running us on a PC, I think, and I suspect
we crashed.
We may have had an overheating event.
We crashed. Can you guys hear me?
Quite a long time.
Can you guys hear me? Hello. Hello.
We'll just sit here and chill.
Hello.
Let's see what happens.
So, what's the weather like over there?
Oh, it's hot. 28.
Hi guys, I'm back.
At this time, it's usually about 14, 12 to 14.
Yeah. We're down
the
to
guys in StreamYard can't see me yet. Sorry, you guys can see me back.
Something now.
Just give us a sec. We had a crash.
It's night time.
The actual streaming software.
And it drops down to 16 overnight, but we're starting to warm up again.
Yeah, we don't have air conditions and such things.
I'm going to mute them because I don't know that I'm actually streaming, and it'll take a couple of seconds for everyone to work out that we are back online. Sorry, guys. Just give us a sec. We show chat.
Yeah, that was a hard crash. I had to restart vMix.
Yeah, my vMix crashed. Not my computer, just the vMix software. It literally just went.
I think it was getting hot.
It was me.
It was.
The minute I show you my thing, that's what happened.
Yeah.
It's too technical, Ian. You killed it.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah,
you are still in that mode too, Ian, where you were showing it. But I can go to you now, and you can show it now. Okay,
right.
Hopefully you don't crash.
So I've been tidying up and moving stuff around. Here is my original, basically patch memory for the Korg 700. Oops, let me try it. So, and I used to use that live on stage. So I'd have this with me live on stage. There's all the songs, and there are all the changes. So when you talk about patch memory, so what was that, Andy?
I said I've still got a folder with that sort of thing in, and it had a page with a setting for the SH101, a setting for the settings for the Pro one, and even settings for the mixer.
Yeah, I mean the original reason I bought the 7 was so I could do it really quickly. Yeah, in between songs. That was the reason.
Guys, do you want to know something funny? The guys in StreamYard,
he was sitting like in the studio, but
they're just talking to themselves.
He was sitting on it.
They can't actually hear me.
Water, it was.
So I'm just muting them. Yeah. So they can't actually hear me. I'm trying to work out how to get StreamYard to work again.
Oh dear.
It's not. It's just not letting me. I might have to leave StreamYard. Hang on. Let me just see if that works. If I leave, remove myself.
You would think they would see the YouTube window there and realize they're no longer.
No, I'm
there.
using NDI. You've heard of that, haven't you, Andy? It's like video across network. It's called NDI.
Yeah.
And it's not picking up my NDI feed across the network at the moment, which I don't know why. Maybe if I use Wi-Fi, I might pick it up.
But if they're monitoring the YouTube stream, they would see they disappeared.
They can see I've disappeared, but like literally I am like a blank screen. Oh, here we go. That's good.
Yeah, because it's all back now in the
guys.
stream.
You should be able to hear me now. You guys hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah. Cool.
Yes.
We had it took me a while to get StreamYard back. We had a crash here, which was my streaming software crashed. And then I got everyone back online, but I couldn't get you guys back online because the
running on
network stuff that runs everything here had kind of froze. So we were talking and we had to mute you guys at the same time. It was interesting anyway. So we're back. Yay. The good thing about having multiple devices running the show is that the show kept streaming and I was able to restart and get back in, and then the chatties and everyone was still there. So
what do they call that? Redundancy.
Yeah. Right, so we can bring you guys back in. So I've got to do this like I start the show every week. Bring that back in there. Oh, that'll do. That's good enough. Okay. So where we were at, we're probably wrapping up the show anyway, so I would suggest getting close to pumpkin time for us, Chris.
Yes.
Yep.
So yeah, Ian was showing his patch thing, and that's when it crashed, and then Ian showed it again, just by the way. You guys missed it, but he showed it again.
It was that. It's just that. It's just from the 700.
Oh, nice.
I take photos of stuff. So like when I'm making when I'm making an album or something, and I want to remember how I did something, I just take a photo, and then I file it in that folder.
Hundreds of
I
got hundreds of them on my phone of patches. Some I'm going to do something with that, and sometimes you scroll through and you go, oh, this is a holiday. Oh, what the hell?
Yeah.
I guess that was a patch I liked. I have no idea what that patch sounds like. Because there's no description on it. It's just a photograph. And I'll remember that. No.
Wendy Carlos used to talk about taking meticulous notes on the switched on box stuff and, these chart diagrams and all that stuff. But you never get back to the same sound. So it's just you're not going to get there.
Not with analog, no.
Yeah. Well, we actually haven't had a crash for a while on the show, so that's, pretty good going.
It's a novelty.
This PC that runs the show, it's an old, it's probably 5 years, 6 years old. So I don't know. Maybe software needs to be updated. Who knows? I'll look into it during the week. Probably software update, probably PC update. I don't really want to do a PC update. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel like I feel like IT technology just really hasn't progressed that much in the last 5 years.
Yeah, it's degrading.
Yeah. So why do we go and spend all this money on these graphics cards and stuff,
Yeah, it has to be more and more simple, like on the phone, and it's so stupid.
It just follows the trend of social media and politics. Everything's degrading, so IT goes with it. So.
Yeah. But what I don't like is I don't like companies like Apple who bring out this MX1, which was, years back now, and it was lightning fast, right? It was lightning fast when we first got it, and now it's slow because they want you to buy the MX2 or the MX3 or
they do.
whatever, right? Or sorry, when I was saying MX1, I meant M1, M2.
M1.
Getting fraudulent. It's late. It's midnight. It's MX1 was the Roland mixer. M1 I meant to say.
My M1's still fairly quick, but it has definitely slowed down since when I bought it.
Yeah, it's slowed down, and it's not because your M1's worse than when you first bought it, and like the electronics are getting old, like you are, Ian. It's not like that, right?
I'm getting old.
We are all getting old, right? We get old and we slow down, but the electronics.
We do,
I mean, the electronics probably would after 40 years, maybe, but not after a year or two. This is just complete. It's a complete scam. The whole system is a scam. They just upgrade some software, and they just go, okay, well, we've built the software to work on this, but hey, you can update it in your machine. And I know guys who are like in the not the IT industry, in the music industry, who literally who refuse to update their Macs and update their PCs because they know the moment that they do, everything will break, and they've got it perfect.
Yes.
I never use the latest
on
Apple operating system.
New OS.
I'm always one behind.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be the vanguard of Mac operating systems.
Well, I did it, but when I did it, I went from an Intel Mac to an M1 Mac, and I thought it was actually quite a cool thing, because I was actually looking forward to knowing a little bit about programming on an Intel architecture versus programming on an ARM architecture. They're completely two different kettles of fish. And we in the IT industry know that Intel has kind of reached, I would say, a wall. I won't say it's like an impassable wall, but with the Intel architecture, I would say it's the x86. Let's say that it's reached a wall, and they keep bringing out processors and selling like BS marketing for us to sort of buy into. But really, the end of the day, that it's getting bloated. Their system's getting bloated. So ARM was a breath of fresh air.
Polish power now.
So I was embracing it. And it was true. But now what Apple are doing is they're doing their stupid shit that they do with their phones, and they're bloating their own software to force us to upgrade the hardware. And I don't like that.
Yeah, but the question is whether they do it deliberately or whether they do it kind of by sort of policy, as in they make decisions which always mean that they're going to choose the method that's faster on the new CPU at the expense of it being the slower method on the old CPU? Or do you subscribe to the theory that this is all completely by design and every programmer knows? They all get together in a room and they decide, right, okay, so how many loops do we want to do doing nothing in between every CPU cycle of every program?
Yeah, but it happens all the time, so it happens again and again, so it must be deliberate.
I think there wasn't something about...
That's a definition of madness, Henrik.
They automatically slowed stuff down over time. I thought there was an article or there was something that they admitted. They did actually admit that that's what they do. They purposefully make things slower.
Well, that was about the phone.
Wow.
They definitely... my chatties aren't working because we restarted.
Oh.
Well, I mean, having worked there and actually done QA on some of their stuff, sometimes they don't know what the hell is going on, to be honest. So,
Right.
the conspiracy angle is not always so strong, because just like all the government conspiracy stuff, it takes a lot of coordination that you can't rely on these people to even coordinate on to do these big conspiracies. So that's what I was thinking. I was thinking they're not. I don't think they're as. I think we're giving them too much credit. Conspiratorial like that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're giving them too much credit for being that calculating.
They'll screw you over to make some money. Yeah, it's just.
They'll make decisions when they can, but they can't plan everything.
Yeah, I mean, Steve Elbers just said that it was the iPhone slowdown issue, which is right. I remember that.
It was.
And it blew up in their face,
They admitted to it.
Like the headphone jack removal to sell Beats, wireless stuff, and also to sell more dongles, more clag nuts.
Yeah.
So
the thing is, like, they remove headphone jacks. Sorry. And what they didn't do is they didn't remove the latency with the wireless audio.
Of course. Especially if you perform with Bluetooth, you have a round robin. You got a round trip you got to worry about, not just one way.
Yeah.
So and that's why you can't use even the Bluetooth 5 stuff. You can't use for playing.
It's still not better. They're saying that it's better, but it's not.
It's
USB-C.
I think it's cheaper.
Your Pro version gets the Thunderbolt speed, whereas your normal iPhone 15 only gets USB 2 speed.
Anyway, so I don't really want to update my PC if I don't have to, because I think this is a Core i7. It's got an NVIDIA 1080 graphics card. I mean, we're talking 1080 now. 1080 was like cutting edge when I bought this. And now, what are they up to? 4000 series, right? NVIDIA cards. So I can't see a massive amount of benefit for me getting a new 4000 series graphics card for the price that they are asking for them. Is absolutely insane. I don't know what they are in the US, Andy, but they're insane prices. Like it's like $4,000 Australian for a 4080 graphics card. It's crazy stuff. I might be able to get like a 3080 for around $1,200 Australian. It's still stupid money. I never paid that for my 1080.
They should come down a little bit because they're not Bitcoin mining anymore. So,
well, they're not Bitcoin mining, and it was it Intel or someone else promised that they'd make an actual mining platform so that you didn't have to buy graphics cards. I think it was Intel.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So, I need to upgrade because I'm still on the 2015 Mac Pro, which is iOS Sierra, not Higher Sierra, just Sierra.
Just Sierra, yeah.
So that's starting to give me a little issue, especially with like things like Safari. It doesn't let me load things; it's out of date. So, and then my PC is only an i5. I don't use that much. It's just that it's got stuff even stored on there that need to fit down and put into either the live set or switch over. So I need upgrading at some
Rance,
point.
is your PC there running Windows 10 or 11?
Windows 10. I won't run Windows 11.
Okay.
Because I don't,
if you're not forced to. Sometimes you can't.
7 was great.
We talked about
It's
this
like
before.
Vista.
I don't want to have to buy into that special. What is it? The chip codec thing that they want on there.
Yeah, they want it for security, but whenever you go up to another operating system, you always have to double the RAM. It's ridiculous. So if you've got the same amount of RAM, you can't do an OS. You can't risk. I just wouldn't risk doing an OS update without also doubling your RAM. And if you can't double your RAM, don't do the OS update.
Well, this has got a fair bit of RAM. I think this has got 64 gig of RAM. It's pretty decent. I don't really.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah, 64 gig.
Grace is on form today.
What she said now.
If I can't run it on my ZX80, then I should reluctantly upgrade to a Spectrum.
Or a Sinclair. Grace, get a Sinclair.
That's what they are, Sinclair.
Yeah, we had the Sinclairs here. Yeah.
Sinclair ZX80.
I'll go completely different than a Commodore 64.
Well, yeah. Yep.
You need
Darren, I don't know. I
where they
reckon you
used-
should.
yeah.
Darren, I reckon you should downgrade. I reckon you should go back to like a 186 IBM clone and put Netscape Navigator on there and WinSock, Windows 3.11 for work.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my G3 Mac in it with what was it? OS 8.6 or OS with the discs and everything. I've even got stuff on there. And I think the original Cubase VST, the first VST version of Cubase.
Yeah.
Just
Imagine how
some
fast.
incoming news.
Imagine how fast one of those machines would run on this computer, like an old, 1993 internet surfing machine back in the day that you used to download.
My first
your
real
MP3
corporate job
files.
with an office, they had an 8088 sitting in the cubicle when I got there. I'm like, what are you doing with this old dinosaur?
You can download a RetroPie to this one, and you can run all old computers on it, before PC. No, not before PC, but
8-bits
from the 90s and before.
Yeah. Any Intel-based PC, yeah.
So you can run Commodore 64, Amiga, and ZX Spectrum. You can run everything on this from the old stuff.
The emulators are getting pretty good. Like the Amiga emulator is actually really, really good, and the 64 one's pretty good as well. I've got they sold those things in the toy shops. You could buy retro mini Commodore 64s or mini Amigas. I bought one. And they're so accurate. You wouldn't even know. They're so accurate. Even the emulation of the SID chip is pretty accurate on it. So yeah. All right. I'm getting tired.
Can I just recommend one thing?
Yep.
For people. I watched it this morning. Have a look at Lupot's video on digital networking, because I'm thinking that might solve my solution when I move. Because if I'm in a room smaller than this,
well, that was my plan here.
It's a really, really good video.
Because it
I think it's gonna be a series of them.
it removes all the noisy problems that you have in your setup, which is one of the reasons why I went with ADAT here. But ADAT is also kind of got its problems where you've got bit rate issues and digital noise. There's still problems with it. So
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. But I hadn't thought of it until I saw that and thought, well, actually, maybe I could put some synths in the attic and control them from downstairs. We'll see. Anyway,
Only Kent keeps his other synths in the attic.
In the bathroom.
Wherever he can fit them.
Yeah.
all right, guys. Well, we're going to finish the show. Nice, everyone. Thanks for the chatties.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Right,
everyone.
see you
And
all.
we will
Thanks,
see you all
everyone.
next week.
See you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Take care.
Bye.